the weekend. All up and running, of course, in terms of the SPFL generally on Friday night with that wonderful performance by Dundee United to brush aside Arbroath by 4-0. Then yesterday across all 4 divisions, goals, certainly plenty of stories, plenty of controversies, a few very notable victories as well, and one final 90 minutes to bring you. It is here at the capital, it is here at Easter Road, it's Hibernian against St Mirren. Full live commentary to come here on Sports out of BBC Radio Scotland with Stephen McGinn, John Collins and Todd Duncan.
Thanks, Richard. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a mouth-watering match-up, this one here. Easter Road, bathed in sunshine. The St Mirren fans off to our right, setting off a couple of flares. It's almost a sellout from the home crowd here at Easter Road. There's anticipation. And Hibs managed to turn their fortunes around from that horror show in Andorra. How vital was that not only they won and got through, but put on a show to quieten down the doubters. And Lee Johnson can look forward to the league campaign ahead, and he'll want more consistency, there's no question about that. Hibs lost more games than they won last season, conceded more goals than they scored in the league. That has to change if they want to move up and challenge for third spot. St Mirren, well, can they repeat last season's fantastic showing where they finished 6th? Their highest finish since 1985. There's an element of continuity with this team. And can they do it all over again? As the Hibs fans roar, Ewan Anderson, the referee, makes sure both teams are ready, looks at his watch. Hibs just waiting to get things underway. They do get things underway, shooting from left to right as we sit here in the main stand. St Mirren in their black and pink flecked away kit and come forward immediately through, but it's a free kick in the middle of the pitch. Hibs, Joe Newell I think hits the deck, gets a free kick, and what an atmosphere to start us off here, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, Olasanya wasn't starting 20 minutes ago, but he's already made his mark in the game, quite aggressive in there with Joe Newell.
And Newell tries to stab the free kick with the left foot. He was looking for the run of Ellie Ewan, but it's cut out, and Mark O'Hara's given it straight to Josh Campbell, who gives it to Ewan on the left-hand side, cuts it back for Campbell, gets a strike on goal, but he was almost caught in two minds about whether to hit that or cross it, and it went harmlessly behind for a goal kick. But slack from O'Hara, John.
Slack from O'Hara, but it was caused by good pressing from the Hibs. He's under pressure in his own box. Disappointing from O'Hara's, but Hibs I think should have been better from that. It's a good cut back. I thought Josh Campbell could have adjusted his feet or taken another touch, but good start from Hibs.
Yeah, Josh Campbell, a couple of goals on Thursday night against Interclub de Scales. He's a goal-scoring midfielder here at Hibs and likes to get in the box. Had more space than I think he thought there. Ended up pulling it behind. Gogic's header up into the sky. Ewan's got time to bring it down, then he's pressurised though. And St Mirren have the ball. Cleared up the pitch. Up towards Olasanya, who's battling. Newell picks up the scraps in midfield. Back to Will Fish, who goes long. It's over the head of Campbell. Gogic clears back down the pitch. And it's a throw-in on the far side to Bernie, and Stevenson goes quickly back to his old chum Paul Hanlon. The two Hibees back for yet another season here at Easter Road, and start off the season as firm first choice as well. Here's Boyle out on the right hand side, forced back to Del Ferrier. Interesting to see if St Mirren can put him under pressure, because as the guys were saying pre-match, he's not a right back really. He looked solid on Thursday against the Andorran side, but this is very much a step up, and I'm sure Stephen Robinson would have maybe had a word in the ear and said let's try and get him turned and defending. And it's a battle in the middle of the pitch. Newell sticks a leg out, it goes all the way through for Will Fish, feeds it into the centre circle. Jake Doyle-Hayes out to Martin Boyle, he's going to go drive inside, he's pursued by Tanzer and he runs into traffic. Kiltay's robbed him and he's gone for the direct ball over the top to Olasanya, who's chasing. Will Fish gets back and has to deal with it, and it's behind for a corner to St Mirren. Good intent from Olasanya.
That's what Olasanya can bring that Mikael Mandron doesn't quite have. He's got that pace in behind, and right away when St Mirren turn the ball over, Greg Kilty's looking for that ball over the top, and I'm sure that's what's spoken about when the change was made.
Corner, St Mirren, goalless 3 minutes in here at Easter Road, and a chance for St Mirren to get this ball in the box and also test out David Marshall, who, it doesn't seem like he's completely cured from what Jamie McAllister was saying pre-match, but fit enough to start. Corner comes in, hoisted to the back post. O'Hara gets up, it's high in the air, and Marshall gets up to claim it under some pressure from Kilty, and then he's flung it out towards Youan, who's had his shirt pulled, but advantage being played. Youan running away down the left-hand side. He's pursued closely by McMenamin, out for a throw-in.
Tremendous play from the goalkeeper. Marshall takes it cleanly. First thing you want, good distribution. Johan's got the pace, excellent throughout. Johan opened up his leg, probably should have done better. Never lifted his head up and realised he had two players on him.
Here's Delferrier on the halfway line, right-hand side, moves it back to Will Fish, returned on loan from Manchester United for another season, showed he had a poor start to his Hibs career, but really came onto a game in the second half of the season. Back for another campaign, the youngster. And there's a distinct smell of flare smoke in the nostrils here at boisterous Easter Road. And throw in Delferrier, short to Newell, gets it back. Newell's going to switch it out to the left-hand side where Lewis Stevenson controls in his own half. He's got space to look up, immediately feeds Youan, who moved away from the ball, and it allowed Ryan Strain to get in and nick it off its toes. Strain driving in halfway through the Hibs half. He's got support on his right-hand side. He's up to the edge of the box, moves on to McMenamin, looks for the cross, dummies back, gives it to Strain. He'll deliver this, he tries to, and Stevenson gets the block in, and then Stevenson saying to Youan, why didn't you come to the ball?
And he's 100% right. He's played the ball at his feet. Johan, he's waiting in the ball coming. You don't wait in the ball, you go towards the ball. Full whack, stepped in front. All of a sudden, from an attacking position, you're getting a defending position.
St Mirren corner, goalless as we approach the 5-minute mark here at Easter Road. And McMenamin, new signing, the Northern Ireland international, goes across, hand up, strikes the ball from the corner to the back post. Richard Taylor gets up, gets a header on target, didn't generate enough power to beat David Marshall. And again, Marshall's gone quickly, he was crowded out here, but Youan's peeled over to the right hand side, and he's got such pace that he's got there ahead of Tanzer. He's driving up the right hand side towards the edge of the box. Tanzer gets back, makes him cut back inside. Now he's looking for support. He's managed to move it to Doyle Hayes, who's come across. Then Youan chips it for Delferrier, who's inside the box right hand side, gets the byline, tries to cross it, and it's bobbled off O'Hara and into the arms of Zach Hemming, who's gone quickly. Both sides not hanging around when it gets to the goalkeeper. Kilty tries to go around Joe Newell. Newell makes a tackle, and he's then won the throw-in in the end. Superb
play from Joe Newell. We talk about his passing, but a big part of being a midfielder is you've got to win the ball back, read the game well. Superb play from him there.
Hibs throw-in. Ferrier takes it to Newell. Goes back to Will Fish, who's right on this right-hand touch line in front of the main stand. He goes back to David Marshall. And we're saying about Hibs, it's all about consistency. We've seen already two sides of them in the two games they've played so far. Brilliant, as you would expect, on Thursday. Shocking in their first outing. They need to churn out far more consistent results if they want to achieve their objectives this season, and that's what Lee Johnson will be judged on.
Part of St Mirren's game plan in a 3-4-3 is to stay a 3-4-3 and for the wing-backs to be aggressive and not be pushed back by Boyle and Youan. And I think that can give them a bit of a fright, that run from Youan there, where Tanzer's maybe a bit worried to push on. St Mirren need to make sure it doesn't drop into a 5-4-1 here.
And Hibs have got the throw-in, I think, on this near side. There was a ball, St Mirren looking for a long ball again for Kilty, who is always a willing runner, but it was dealt with by Hibs. It's actually out for a throw-in to St Mirren on this near side. Richard Taylor has the ball in his hands. Goalless after 7 minutes at Easter Road in this final match of round 1 of the Premiership, the new Premiership season. Already a big result on day 1 with Kilmarnock defeating Rangers live on Sports Sound yesterday evening. Hibs trying to move it on up the left-hand side through Stevenson. And he checks back and gives it to Hanlon. And it's a glorious day here in Edinburgh. Pitch, as John said, we walked in past it, looks immaculate, and Boyle's made a run. It's a long diagonal ball looking for him. That's well dealt with by Marcus Fraser. Watched it all the way and nodded it out. Here's Bacchus into the centre circle with his pass to Kilty, who's held onto it well. It's back to Taylor, who's just tried to hit the diagonal out to McMenamin. It's intercepted. Here's Campbell, middle of the pitch for Hibs. Good tracking back by Keanu Bacchus, the Australian international. Tackles Campbell, and then there's a ball forward here by Strain looking for Olasanya, read by Hanlon, and it's a miscontrol on the far side by Ryan Strain, out for a throw-in.
What we're seeing from these early is St Mirren message is for Olasana. As soon as anybody picks the ball up in the wide areas, he's got to make that run in behind. I think they've identified Hanlon lack of pace, and maybe Fish a little bit lack of pace compared to Olasana as well.
That's what you were saying pre-match as well, Stephen. I wonder if that game plan has changed since Mikael Mandron had to pull out late on.
Yeah, I'm sure it's what they'll have spoke about, the lack of pace and how quick he is. I mean, Mandron is a focal point, but he does offer that in behind all the time.
Here comes Hibs. Del Ferrier into the feet of Yuan. He tried a little clever flick round the corner, but there was absolutely no one there. Didn't look before he played it. And here is Kiltie up over into Hibs territory on the left-hand side. And he gives it back to Taylor, the centre half, into O'Hara, who had probably the finest season of his career last year with St Mirren. 12 goals. Yes, he takes the penalties, but I was at Ibrox at the end of last season and he scored one of them, which was an absolute screamer. It's not just about the penalties, he's a good finisher. Here's Taylor again looking for that run of Olasanya behind, but it's cut out. Falls for Newell in midfield, goes back to Hanlon, right back in the Hibs half, the centre half, Stevenson, Newell, and St Mirren holding their front line fairly high up, certainly in the Hibs half, not giving them their own half to build up. And Del Ferrier looks for the pass down to Boyle, but it was nowhere near him, and easily cut out by Scott Tanser. And St Mirren will look to play out. Bacchus drops in, receives the pass, moves it out to Strain, but it's a good tackle from Stevenson, and now Hibs are on the attack. Yuan on the left hand side, they're doubling up on him. He's got two in front of him. He's going to try and take on one. He does, and he spins inside Marcus Fraser, but he doesn't manage to get in the box, and he's crowded out. He didn't have much support, in fairness, Eli Yuan, and now McMenamin comes away, and Lewis Stevenson trips and makes the sensible foul.
Exactly what makes Yuan such a frustrating player. He's got the player in the wide area. There's 4 players round about him. He's got to think, if I move this back to Lewis Stevenson, switch it, Hibs have got superior numbers elsewhere, but what does he do? He keeps his head down, tries to dribble 4. He's got to learn. If he wants to become a better player, these are the situations he's got to eliminate from his game.
Yeah, he's certainly got talent, and Hibs have paid big money in Scottish football terms outside the old firm to take him here on a permanent basis. And second half of last season, you saw what he was capable of in front of goal, but he does, or can, flatter to deceive when he gets in dangerous areas. Long free kick, headed away by Fish, and then Doyle Hayes takes it on the head. O'Hara's putting a crunching but clean tackle, out for a throw-in on this near side.
I think what it does do as well as an imposing player, it gives you encouragement to go and smother you. If you keep tight and touch, then you're going to encourage you to press him.
Here's Del Ferrier, he's under pressure in his own half from Kiltie. They're forced back. He doesn't really have a pass. Marshall's offering, and then he loses it as he tries to clear it. Kiltie blocks. Bacchus back to Kiltie on this left-hand side. Looks up, tries a right-footed cross. It's headed away. Diving header from Hanlon in the centre of the box, but then it's lost out again by Del Ferrier. Kiltie moves it inside. He looks like he just slipped there. Furious cries for a penalty. He's thumping the deck. He feels he was tripped, but it looked like he just lost his footing, but it's come back to straight edge of the box, shot blocked, then it's still inside the box. McMenamin jinks back, he's forced to the corner of the box, moves it back to Marcus Fraser, pass, doesn't go to, it does fall to the back post, and Kiltie and straight down the throat of Marshall, and he's still shouting at the referee, Ewan Anderson.
Stephen identified it pre-match. Del Ferrier is not a right back, and already we can see he's a weakness in that back four, and St Mirren have identified that already.
Nearly 12 minutes played here at Easter Road. That was a bit slack from Hibs as well, because they didn't clear that ball when they should have, and it went all the way through to Kiltie, managed a right-footed shot, but it was fairly tame. Not sure. Gogic under pressure here. He's pressed, and Boyle's nipped in. Boyle up to the edge of the box. He's touched it round Fraser. He's gone down. Ewan Anderson is completely unmoved. He did again. It was similar to the Kiltie one. He kind of was almost expecting the contact.
I think credit to Boyle. He never dived. He's got off on his feet. He's not tried to get the foul. He's just lost his balance.
Very good referee in that from Ewan Anderson. Very consistent.
Yeah, it's just Kiltie came inside one end. Boyle tapped it around and went round the other. They just kind of lost their footing. Not that the fans agreed, of course, but on we go. Free kick, Ewan Anderson. There's a free kick in favour of Hibs in their own half. Josh Campbell goes down and gets the free kick. 12.5 minutes played. And it's Hibs 0, St Mirren 0 here at Easter Road. Good contest though.
Yeah, I think you see from up here, the St Mirren goes straight back into a back five. Hibs might need to be a bit patient here. And the front five of St Mirren are working really hard when Hibs are moving the ball across the pitch. If they can move them a few times, how often can the St Mirren players keep moving?
And there seems to be some sort of VAR check going on, because Ewan Anderson's got his finger to his ear, so there's some communication going. There's a break in play. Not sure exactly what's being checked, possible, and it's the screen. Wonder of a screen here at Easter Road tells us that they're checking for a possible penalty. Now, I wonder if that's the Kilty one, because Boyles was outside the box and he's going over to the screen. Ewan Anderson is going over to the screen.
From up here it looked like a slap, but almost from Greg Kilty's reaction you sense there must have been contact.
Yeah, he went crazy. It's very rare a player will do that if he's not been touched, because it shows. I think this will be given as a penalty.
And that's what usually happens when the referee goes across the monitor, and Kilty he's across taking a drink, and he's saying to the staff there was definite contact. Now, obviously you have to take that with a pinch of salt, but he's, as you say, sometimes the reaction of players can tell you a lot, and Ewan Anderson has disappeared from our view. You can just see him looking at the screen here.
How long did that take?
Well,
how's that possible? How long does it take the VR to have a look at something and flag up? That was minutes, was it not?
Yeah, it was a couple of minutes, because it's gone, and it's a penalty. Ewan Anderson has pointed at the spot. St Mirren do have a penalty. The foul on Kilty all the way back. It must have been 2 or 3 minutes away back.
That could go down as the longest delay in VAR history, surely.
Well, it's one of the things they're absolutely keen to cut out and cut down.
However, if it's a correct result...
Yeah, we're not privy to the replay, but just on Greg Kilty's reaction for the last couple of minutes, you think there must have been a contact.
Okay.
Well, obviously, the reason is the ball's in play, and it didn't go out of play for a good few minutes. So then when it stopped, there can be the communication between the VAR, Kevin Clancy, and Ewan Anderson, the referee. And then, obviously, there's a time as well that takes the referee to get to the screen and check it. But O'Hara, the St Mirren captain, has his hands on his hips. He's up against Marshall. He shimmies, sends him the wrong way. Almost straight down the middle from Mark O'Hara. He gets another goal-scoring season up and running. The St Mirren captain, calm as you like, rolled it to the goalkeeper's left-hand side. Marshall went to his right. It's Hibernian 0, St Mirren 1.
What a start. We spoke about him being the talisman for St Mirren, and he's started the season in that way. And we spoke about also St Mirren taking the game to Hibs and trying to catch them early off the back of the European game. This is just the dream start for Stephen Robinson.
Well, let's go down pitch side, because Brian has seen a replay of that penalty shout. Brian, what have you seen? What can you tell us?
There was minimal contact, you'd have to say. Greg Kilty cut inside. Joe Newell, his foot was out. It was toe-to-toe basically, but there was contact, enough for Ewan Anderson to say that was a penalty.
Well, we know that when officials are called over, I think twice last season we had overturned decisions. Willie Collum with the red cards for Ryan Jack, or he rescinded it and put it down to a yellow. Ibrox against St Johnstone. There was another as well, out of 2. So we know as soon as the refs go over, they're more likely to overturn their decision. And here's O'Hara, and he's played it in behind for Olasanya, who's on it. He's into the box. Olasanya through on goal! And he's slotted it by David Marshall to double St Mirren's lead at Easter Road.
We spoke about his pace, getting down the side of Hibs' 2 central defenders. The 2 central defenders are lacking pace, I'm afraid, and he has got pace, and he's on his toes. He's just perfect timed his run. It's a good finish, popped it through the keeper's legs.
Absolutely, full credit to Stephen Robinson. As he said, not ideal for the game plan, the team to change so late, but the message has been across. Every chance you get, play the ball in behind the 2 centre halves, and Olasanya, on your bike, get after it. Your pace will get you in, and he's got in and still had a lot to do. Puts it under David Marshall. What a goal.
Well, he wasn't expecting to be starting this game. He was warming up thinking he was going to be on the bench, but he's had a big impact even before that goal, stretching the Hibs defence. And it's O'Hara as well, just scored the penalty, influential, wins the ball, puts it in behind, and in fairness to Olasanya, he stayed extremely calm to just slot it under David Marshall and into the back of the net. And that's his second of the season. He got the late winner at Central Park against Cowdenbeath in the League Cup, which turned out to be a huge goal in St Mirren's season to get them through. And he's up and running in the league as well. Toyosi Olasanya, he was sent out to Arbroath on loan last season as well. A bit part, not really involved. Well, he's had a big say on day one of St Mirren's league campaign. 2-0. And Hibs, utterly shell-shocked. Here's Campbell, left-hand side. Can they mount a quick response to that quick-fire double from St Mirren? Loses out. And then it's a heavy pass from Bacchus, and it's not dealt with, and it's out on the far side for a throw into Hibs, who trailed 2-0 Not even played 20 minutes here at Easter Road.
Well, it's the situation like this that tells the manager what his players are made of. Now we'll see who's brave, who keeps wanting the ball, who starts hiding. And if one starts hiding, it's all over.
Long throw incoming from Joe Newell. He's launched it into the box, into towards the 6-yard box. Doidge challenges for it, doesn't get it. Then Newell comes in, Hanlon goes up, loses out, edge of the box. Jake Doyle-Hayes tries the shot. There's appeals in the main stand for a handball from the block, but nothing given on the field. And Stevenson with a switch of play up towards Taylor. Hanlon still up there from the set piece, challenges, and Campbell's won the scraps in midfield. He's moved out to Yuan, out on the left hand side, infield to Newell. He's about 30 yards from goal, but he's forced back by Keanu Bacchus, and he has to go all the way back to Lewis Stevenson in his own half. Newell gets it back, but again the two St Mirren players, Olasanya and Bacchus, just obstructing the way through. Long ball out towards Yuan, and that's not dealt with by Strain. Weak header, but he manages to get it at the second attempt back to Hemming, the goalkeeper, who launches it forward. Newell takes it on the chest, and it's flicked round the corner. Campbell couldn't get there, and Strain defends. And as John said, the fans, well, they're already irate with what they've seen in the last few minutes, and Hibs need to settle down.
Well, it's during this period when players have got to learn to close the crowd out, forget about the crowd, stay focused, remember what they've got to do for their teammate, always making themselves available, good reactions when you lose the ball.
Hibs trailing by 2-0, 20 minutes played. Here's Doyle-Hayes midway through the St Mirren half, out to the right hand side. Boyle, he's one-on-one with Tanzer. He's only going to do one thing, but he checks back, then digs in towards Doidge in the middle of the box. Fraser heads it away. Doyle-Hayes on the edge, across to Campbell. Yuan right inside the box on the left hand side, cross blocked, and then Bacchus clears for St Mirren. And Hibs have rallied somewhat in the last couple of minutes since that second goal, trying to pin St Mirren back.
Good reaction, they've got them pinned in now. Now they've got to get good deliveries in the box. Can they get to the byline? A goal changes everything.
Absolutely. They need one, St Mirren. When they don't give much away, that is Hibs' problem. They are incredibly frugal, or certainly they were last season. Not so much on the road, right enough. Only won 3 league games away from home, and then Hibs just put one straight out the park.
Yeah, Delferry, he's sloppy, he's anxious, he's nervous. It's a simple execution, 15-yard pass to your winger, and he can't even hit him.
I think it's quite obvious he's really uncomfortable being a right back. As I said, he was at Edinburgh City last year as an attacking midfielder that took chances. To put him in at right back is really difficult for the boy. I know he'd be desperate to play for Hibs, but it is a challenge for him.
Yeah, well, obviously Chris Cadden is out fairly long term with that. His Achilles injury. Here's Bacchus, middle of the pitch for St Mirren. He's midway through the half. He looks for Olasanya, who's not managed to get in behind, but he has picked the ball up, edge of the box, out to McMenamin, who jinks in on the left foot. Shot deflected past Marshall's near post, and then Marshall's out giving lectures to the defence. Corner, St Mirren.
And they have got a right back on the bench though that the manager has signed, so it wouldn't shock me if there's an early substitution. The young lad's really struggling.
Yeah, Jordan Obita can play at left back. There's Lewis Miller as well, of course, but the manager doesn't seem to trust him. And clearly, even Delferrier is on the pitch. Corner in towards the back post. Gogic gets up, doesn't make clean contact, and in fact, the whistle has gone from Ewan Anderson for a foul.
I mean, that's a couple of corners hard from that end. They put great deliveries into that back post twice. They've been close to getting their head on it.
St Mirren leading Hibernian by 2-0 here at Easter Road. 22 minutes played. Mark O'Hara's penalty after a VAR check following a foul on Kiltie. And then just 2 minutes later, Olasanya played in behind by O'Hara and stuck it under David Marshall to double St Mirren's lead. A perfect start to the league season. Still plenty of time left, of course, for Hibs to turn this around, but dearie me, not what they would have hoped for, nor this crowd who have packed out Easter Road, the home side.
There's a couple of times Stevenson and Ewan have been a different page, and usually you'd expect that with a new signing, but they played together all season last year.
Well, for me, it's Johan's reaction. It looks like he's switched off. He's not at it.
Yeah, and you can hear the dissatisfaction of the home side, because that was a long ball looking for Martin Boyle. He'd come in field looking to run in behind, but it was overhit straight through to Zach Hemmen, who's just got the ball at his feet and takes his time until Christian Doidge approaches, and then he moves it on to Taylor. He's Gogic, who's dropped in and is playing as part of that back three. Charles Dunn on the bench, he's had a calf issue. He is fit enough for the bench. And here is Ryan Strain out on the right hand side midway through the Hibs half. He's put it out down the wing to Olasanya, who's peeled out wide. He's tussling with Hanlon, and Hanlon has made the challenge. It's come off Olasanya. Goal kick, Hibs 0, St Mirren 2.
He's worried the two centre halves, Olasanya, enough that St Mirren are able to play the ball up. Both centre halves drop with Olasanya, and McMenamin can pick the ball up easy. That's the difference the player that runs in behind can make to a team.
Here's Newell, moves it across to Hanlon. Out to Yuan, who's dropped deep into his own half, and he's gone for the switch of play, but it's fizzed right behind Del Ferrier, who's made up the ground to go backwards, and then he's going to try and take on Kiltie. Moves a pass in field, but it doesn't meet the feet of Doidge, and then Bacchus picks up the scraps, gives it to Gogic. Here's Kiltie, left hand side, not too far over the halfway line. He moves it back to Tanzer, who's going to go back to Taylor, but the Hibs fans on the backs of their players, 2 quick fire goals, and Hibs initially had a good response. They had St Mirren pinned back, there was an intensity, but it's a few mistakes creeping in. Long switch of play from St Mirren out to the left, Kiltie, and he's found the run of Tanzer on the underlap in the box. Tanzer's put it up in the air, Lasanya's there, but Marshall claims it, and then he gets a dunk from McMenamin, I think, and it's a free kick. Ewan Anderson blows the whistle, and it was a free kick all day long, and in fact McMenamin's gone in the book.
From here it looks a soft booking to me. I don't know about you, Stephen.
Yeah, well, I just think from a St Mirren point of view, they've maybe discussed Marshall not being fully fit. If you can get a wee chance to go in late, you never know. They've obviously got a goalkeeping problem at the minute, so it might have been something that's been discussed.
Yeah, absolutely, and Marshall stayed down. It was just a nudge on the shoulder to shoulder. He definitely kind of barged them over. McMenamin, he's gone in the book, and I was concerned for David Marshall, and obviously
Stephen Robinson, he's identified Del Ferry. I mean, every opportunity they get a chance to put the balls on top of him or in behind him, get them turned.
So Stephen Robinson's just down on the touchline in front of us. He's given out the instructions to his players. They're taking on some water. It is actually summer here at Easter Road. Incredible. The sun's turned up, and as have St Mirren, you have to say, big time. 2 quick fire goals have put Hibs right on the back foot. Marshall seems okay. And it's interesting because David Marshall was going to start that game on Thursday before he pulled up in the warm-up, but he didn't have a good season last season. Statistically, he didn't save as many as you would expect, and he's just had to put a poor goal kick out there straight to Olasanya, and Hibs have managed to just win the ball back, but Stevenson was under pressure, and he's given it to Ryan Strain, who's up towards the right-hand corner of the box. He's given it to McMenamin, cross straight down Marshall's throat, but he's fumbled it behind for a corner. He does not seem right, the Hibs goalkeeper. He's clutching his head. He maybe looks as if he's dazed or something. If there's a head injury, then there should obviously be no risk taken, but he fumbled a routine cross there, and it's behind for a corner.
Well, there's an edginess spreading throughout the whole Hibs team. They're all anxious just now. They need to try and settle things down, get a hold of the ball. Just now what's happening, they're getting to the back, they're trying to play it forward too quick, giving the ball away. They've got to think, okay, it's 2-0, we'll keep possession, let's get some touches, get the confidence back of it. Because sometimes when you've got a big centre forward, the easy option for everybody is just launch it to him. But at this moment in time, when they do launch it, there's no winning.
If you were to ask Stephen Robinson, how would you like Hibs to play against you getting into this game, they'd say, just get the ball early up to Doidge, and we'll deal with that. We've got 3 big centre halves, we'll deal with it. What the problem for St Mirren would come if they start to develop the play, if they switch the play, get Martin Boyle into the game, switch it then to Ewan, maybe a one-on-one situation. So the way the game's going at the minute, it's almost textbook for St Mirren as the away team here.
I agree.
And David Marshall, the physios are on, he's still holding his head. And they're potentially going to make a change here. Let's get pitch side to Brian McLaughlin, who can bring us up to speed.
Not 1, not 2, potentially 3, but certainly 2 changes at the moment. Alan Del Ferrier and Josh Campbell are going to be replaced. Dylan Levitt and Jordan Abita are stripped and ready to go. They're just actually having a look at David Marshall at the moment. Max Boric was out warming up as well. He's now back in the dugout as well just now, but it looks like he's going to continue. There's going to be a corner at the moment to St Mirren.
Here comes the corner in, and it's all the way to the back post. Richard Taylor was in. Marshall didn't have to deal with it there, and he's going to play it out for the goal kick. Well, that's interesting. Lee Johnson has clearly seen enough, and Obita is a left back, so even if he comes on, and here come the changes, Dylan Levitt is going to replace Josh Campbell.
I think that's a surprise, and one Josh Campbell will be disappointed getting taken off. But tactical, Del Ferry, no surprise.
It had to happen. It had to happen.
It had to happen. He was uncomfortable in possession, out of possession, and he's not a natural right back.
Yeah, Obita's going to play left back, and it looks like Will Fish is going to move to right back. And
I think they've moved more to a 3-5-2 with Obita and Martin Boyer's wing backs and
matching up. They're just matching up St Mirren, basically. Looks like it.
Yeah, certainly. Obita is not a right back, so that's the way they've worked it. Here's Taylor, wins it. Tanzer sends it long. Again, Hibs defence turned. Fish has allowed it to bounce. He's under pressure on the edge of his box from Olasanya. Does get the hook clearance in, and the whistle is gone. There's a offside potentially against Olasanya. The Hibs, they don't look comfortable.
Mikael Mandron doesn't want to start the season with an injury, but it's been the sub of the season so far. I mean, what a difference Olasanya's made to this St Mirren team.
Long ball forward for Obita, and it's too far, and it's gone all the way for a goal kick. And Hibs trailing on their own patch to St Mirren by 2-0. 29 minutes. O'Hara and Olasanya, the goal scorers, in the blink of an eye.
So it looks like Levitt sitting in front of the back three with Joe Newell and Doyle Hayes slightly further forward. Triangle.
That's interesting, John, because I don't know what you think, but Levitt, I think a lot of people would prefer him further forward because he's brilliant at putting those little passes in, but he's obviously going to the base.
Well, the manager's obviously wanting him just to sit and get on the ball deeper, try and get some possession, because the last 10-15 minutes there's been no possession at all.
Here's Yuan, left-hand side. He's under pressure, gives the ball away. Here's Bacchus, forwards, straight through the lines for McMenamin. He's got the head down. He's driving towards the Hibs box. He's out to the right-hand side. He's pursued by Stevenson and Levitt. Here's Bacchus out to the touchline. Strain tries to put it down the touchline. He does for McMenamin, who's touched it brilliantly inside for Bacchus, who's dug out a cross, and then it's not dealt with convincingly, but it is behind for a corner. Hanlon kind of fell over and managed to put it behind for a corner kick, but Hibs all over the place, really.
They're so worried about Olasanya that Kelties, Bacchus, O'Hara, McMenamin, they're just getting space to just pick up the second ball and then get after St Mirren. So I think they've tried to put in Levitt to maybe have a 3v2 in midfield, try and get some control back in the game.
Corner St Mirren over on the far side. It's McMenamin over to take a Northern Ireland international. Left foot puts it right into the 6-yard box. Hanlon gets up. It's O'Hara who also gets up and heads it in past the side netting. He's got a really good leaf on him, Mark O'Hara.
Every single corner from that side has landed in exactly the same spot. They've obviously identified a weakness beyond the back post that Hibs defending. So far, thankfully, they haven't managed to score from Hibs' point of view.
Marshall takes the goal kick long. We'll need to keep an eye on him because he did not seem right after that challenge. It's straight up and easily won at the back for St Mirren. It goes up in the air. McMenamin wins it, and then ball from Fraser looking for the run of Olasanya once again. Hanlon got across and just nipped in front and managed to get it back to Marshall. Here's Levitt, who's dropping deep, and he's looking for an option, and it goes back to his defender, Paul Hanlon. Moves it out to the left-hand side. Stevenson up the touchline to Obita, a substitute. Back to Hanlon, and Hibs adjusted formation, as the guys pointed out. 3 at the back, 2 changes made because St Mirren have had their number. Here's Levitt, middle of the pitch, and he's forced back. St Mirren, and they're not doing anything you wouldn't expect of them for having watched them last season. It's what they're so good at, just so disciplined, effective, and know their jobs, and are giving Hibs a really tough time here.
Yeah, a lot of people speak about pressing, and every team tries to do this high press, but there's a really organised, I mean, it's coached really well, and there's a plan to it, and they're quite hard to find space in amongst it.
Ball into the feet of Doidge, but he's not held it. He tried to flick it into the path of Newell, but it evaded his teammate by some distance. St Mirren go back to Hemming, who's been a spectator so far, you have to say. Header up into the middle of the pitch, flicked on by Doyle Hayes, but again it's just Hibs, passes, headers, flicks, not going to teammates. Gogic at the back for St Mirren. Takes a couple of touches, he's under pressure slightly from Doidge, but just knocks it back to Hemming easily enough. Hemming's gone long up to Olasanya, who's tussling with Hanlon, and he's got a little flick on to McMenamin. Back to Strain, the wing back, and he's played it into the channel for Olasanya to chase on the right hand side. Hanlon's had to go back, he's defended that really well. A little touch away from Olasanya out to the touchline, and then he's managed to find the space to clear it. Looks for Doidge.
Again, that's happening too much. Players at the back are getting it, and they've got midfield players in front 15-20 yards away from it, and they're looking for the long pass to Doidge. It's not happening, it's not working. He's got strong centre halves round about him.
Even the couple of times he has won it, he's just flicking it on to the
Nobody.
St Mirren centre half.
Exactly.
And it's all the way back with Hanlon, who goes back to Marshall. You sometimes see that with teams, is when they play with a target man, there's just the temptation to look for him every single time, when actually, you know,
you've got to choose your moments.
And here's Fish, right hand side. Boyle, infield. Levitt has picked up a nice space. He's got space to take a pass, but he's got nowhere near the switch of play he was looking for a Obita, and it's not convincingly dealt with by Strain. And then there's a challenge in the middle of the pitch for McMenamin. Hibs fans didn't like that. On we go, and then O'Hara shimmies, turns, takes it on the half turn in the middle of the pitch, and he's up over halfway, and he gets the free kick. Outstanding from the St Mirren captain. He's been absolutely instrumental. Scored the penalty, assist for the second goal, and that was special.
And his quality play from O'Hara. He's a nice turn, took it on the back foot, spun away from Doyle Hayes. Doyle Hayes, in fairness, he's chasing him. I think it's a little tug. I think it's a harsh booking again.
I think it's a part of his game he's developed. He knows his body, he knows his size. He can welcome the contact and use his body to turn. And once he opens up his legs, you're having to take the booking to stop him, because he's such a good runner.
Yeah, Doyle Hayes, the first Hibs player to go in the book. St Mirren free kick just outside the centre circle in the Hibs half, and it's going to be Ryan Strain, who's middle of pitch. He's got quality delivery, we know that. 4 assists in the League Cup groups, and he's gone actually short to the edge of the box. Kilties picks up, gives it back to Strain, who's got loads of time to pick out a cross. That's exactly what he's done, but it's not a good one. Goes straight behind for a goal kick to Hibs, who are trailing by 2-0. 10 minutes plus whatever's added for the VAR check in this first half at Easter Road.
I think we need half time, the Hibs players. I think they look a bit shell shocked. I think some of them are thinking about playing long, and others are trying to play. They're a wee bit caught in between both.
Here's Doyle Hayes, nice pass to find him in the St Mirren half, out to Boyle on the right hand side, who's barely had a touch. Martin Boyle moved in field. Hanlon in the centre circle, left footed pass out to Obita with the pink boots, tries to take a touch round Strain, who made the challenge, out for a throw in on the far side. And Hibs need to find some answers here. Quick fire double from St Mirren has them on the back foot, and a packed Easter Road are not happy with what they've been watching, understandably so. Levitt back to Hanlon, goes long again. He's looking for Obita. He's found him this time. If Obita can keep it in, he can just about, but he's forced to just swing a boot at it, and it went up and high in the air and then straight behind for a goal kick.
You know, those straight passes 30 yards in there, skidding off the ground, the chances of them actually hitting their target are very slim. They're playing too many of those balls over the top. They're just sliding away out for by kicks. They're forcing it. That's the word we're looking. They're forcing it too much. They've got more shorter passes, more movement in the middle of the park. There's 3 of them in there. Levitt, credit to him since he's got on. He's making himself available. He's getting on the ball. What I want to see him is get it and slide it through to Joe Newell in the next stage, next phase of play.
McMenamin wins the header, though. He's not the tallest, but he's gets up and he's getting stuck in, that's for sure. Here's Bacchus, middle of the pitch, looks for Kiltie. Tackle by Will Fish, who has gone long, and this time he has found Eli Ewan on the right hand side of the box, who takes it first time and just lampoons it straight over the crossbar, much to the ire of the Hibs fans. I don't know what he was thinking there. He had loads of time.
Well, he was thinking he can wrap his foot and put it on Josh and Christian Doyle's head, but the reality is, to execute that is 1 in 100 he's going to do it. Get it on the deck, control it, and get running at a fullback.
It's the first time almost St Mirren gave the ball away in a position where they're vulnerable, and they've got Eli Ewan down the side, and there's alarm bells as a St Mirren fan watching it, and he then does that, puts out the park and solves all their problems.
Header won by Stevenson. Again, it's straight back. Olasanya always just there, and Hanlon got a foot to it, but it's offside against St Mirren. It'll be a free kick to Hibs. Nearly 38 played here at Easter Road. Hibs trailing St Mirren by 2-0. What a start to the season this would be for St Mirren if they were to go on and win this game. It's another long ball from Hibs, which is just straight down Marcus Fraser's throat. He wins the header, and then Newell's given away the free kick middle of the pitch, and St Mirren will just, well, they look to go quickly actually, but it's miles from the spot of the foul, so Ewan Anderson says come back and take it. But as you say, John, Hibs just immediately looking for the long ball,
and it's not happening. It's not working for them. They've got to very quickly realise that that is not the ball that's going to get them back into the game.
Levitt clears up, Taylor, Doidge gets a tackle in, but Bacchus nips in. Midway through the Hibs half, he's out to the left-hand side. Kiltie, he's going to run at Will Fish. Greg Kiltie, left-hand corner of the box. Martin Boyle gets back, forces him to come inside, but he's still got the ball, then moves it on to Strain. Here's O'Hara, out to the left-hand side in Tanser. Forced back to O'Hara, who's under pressure from Doyle Hayes, has to go all the way back to Alex Gogic at centre half, in his own half, and he's done well, Gogic, to get away from Yuan. Out to Tanser, first time right foot, again looking for Olasanya, who's making Paul Hanlon work for it. Good touch from Hanlon, and then gets the pass away. Fish gives it back to Hanlon, and that's better play from Hibs. Into the chest of Doidge on halfway, nicks it to Newell, under pressure, but it's the left-footed pass, but he was under pressure and there was a challenge, went in and it's not reached Obita. Instead, Strain picks up, moves it to O'Hara, who just exits the centre circle in the Hibs half. Out to the touchline where Bacchus is. He's played it up to Strain, who's very advanced, right-hand side. He takes on Steve Levitt, is near post, and for Olasanya, who gets a touch right in the corner of the 6-yard box, and the defender had to nip in and just put that behind for another St Mirren corner kick.
They're shell-shocked, Hibs. I mean, I think if the score's 0-0, Joe Newell just plays that out to Lewis Stevenson. It's so on because they're chasing the game. He thinks he has to go in behind to LSU, and as I said, it's something St Mirren are really comfortable with.
St Mirren are full of confidence, full of energy. You know, as is often the case when you're 2-0 up. Hibs opposite players, the confidence you can see all of a sudden. But in football, that can change quick. The key is when the confidence is low, you've got to continue to work hard, stay compact, and play the ball simple. Don't try complicated long passes.
Corner comes in and it's straight down David Marshall's throat, and Hibs will be grateful for a bit of a reprieve. And then Levitt again tries the Hail Mary pass up to Yuan, and it's cut out, and it's going to be a throw in on this near side. Levitt is going to take, he throws it back to Fish and goes back to Marshall. 40 minutes played, and it's Hibs 0, St Mirren 2, and Hibs really need to, well, just find not even a goal. They just need to find some passages of play, can build confidence. Even that's an unconvincing pass back to Hanlon, who has to take a touch back towards his own goal, and he looks up and he doesn't see a whole lot of movement in front of him. Levitt eventually drops in, takes a touch, moves it back to Hanlon. Newell is jogging across and makes a run, but Fish goes short to Doyle Hayes, who's just miscontrolled it straight out of the park, took his eye off it, and that really sums up Hibs' first half.
Yeah, it's been a 45 minutes of errors, giving the ball away needlessly. Complete opposite from St Mirren. They've looked decisive, looked like they're comfortable in their game plan, they look hungry, and in fairness, they're looking sharp.
Absolutely. Here's Taylor, launches it up the left-hand side again, looking for Olasanya. It's flicked on by Boyle back towards his own goal. Hanlon's come across and he's played it up and out the pitch for a throw-in, and Tanser will take for St Mirren, who lead by 2-0 here. You're listening to Sport Sounds on BBC Radio Scotland, the final game of the opening card of Scottish Premiership fixtures. What a weekend it's been already.
I think that touch from Martin Boyle, maybe his first in about 5-10 minutes, a defensive header, probably sums up where the Hibs performance is, not getting him into the game.
O'Hara, left-hand side cross. Olasanya can control on the edge of the box, puts it back to Bacchus, who dummies the shot and then goes down under the challenge of Newell and gets the free kick. Dangerous position, about 20 yards from goal, just to the right of the D on the edge of the Hibs box. And there'll be a few who fancy this. I would imagine Stephen Strain has the ball in his hands. He can definitely hit them. Yeah,
Strain's excellent at them. Tanser can hit them. McMenamin's been putting them on the money from the corners. Yeah, I think he's kind of loitering over it, but almost the best case for Hibs at the moment is just to get into half-time at 2-0. They are shell-shocked. They need to change the game plan here.
And this is another chance for St Mirren to get a strike on goal. We're going to have 4 minutes of added time in this first half. Most of that will be for the VAR check for the penalty, which resulted in the opening goal from Mark O'Hara. There's plenty of time being taken for this free kick. Strain and another are over. Can't see because Strain is blocking them. Is it Tanzer? Maybe the left foot of Tanzer. I think it is Scott Tanzer with the left foot. Strain is considering it with the right. It's going to be one of them. Ewan Anderson still pondering. And it's going to be right foot of Strain. Whips it just over the bar.
Good effort. Good effort. A foot over, I would say. Decent effort.
Yeah, got plenty of pace on it. Right back. A few have expressed maybe a bit surprised that Ryan Strain is still at St Mirren. Stephen Robinson said they had no bids for him, and they'll be delighted with that. Really good player.
Yeah, outstanding signing for St Mirren, and an amazing season. And as you say, goes under the radar quite a lot. How big a player he is for St Mirren.
And he wins the header. Gogic up to Kiltie midway through the Hibs half. He's battling really well against Jake Doyle-Hayes and then gets the pass off. Here's Bacchus, right-footed pass out to the right-hand touchline. McMenamin looks for the run in behind off Strain. He's bombing forward that well on the right-hand side, but it was blocked out for a throw into St Mirren on the far side. And we're heading towards the end of this first period here at Easter Roads. St Mirren leading by 2-0. O'Hara and Olusanya, the goal scorers. Olusanya, a late addition to the front line for St Mirren after Mandron pulled out in the warm-up, and boy, has that paid dividends. St Mirren take the throw in, and Strain battles, looks for Olusanya, cut out by Stevenson, played long. Deutsch goes up, Gogic wins the header, falling for Doyle-Hayes, who's charging forward into the St Mirren half. He's up towards the edge of the box. Ewan on the left-hand side, good tackle from Marcus Fraser. Throw in on the far side to Hibs. They look to go quickly. No, it's left for Obita, the left wing back, who's come on as a replacement. 2 changes already made by the Hibs boss Lee Johnson.
Manager will be desperate to get in at half time to calm his players down. They're all over the place.
Even better if they get a goal here, and Joe Newell is going to fling this into the box from the far side. It's exactly what he does towards Deutsch, who loses out to Gogic to the edge of the box. Doyle-Hayes sends it back up in the air, falls for Boyle, edge of the box, trying to work a shooting opening on the left foot, and he's dinked it over looking for Newell, but it's headed away by Strain, and it'll fall for Bacchus, who just puts the foot through it, goes up to the halfway line, out for a throw-in to Hibs on the far side. Obita takes. Hibs trailing by 2-0. Here is Stevenson with the ball at the back, takes a touch in front of him, and again the Hibs fans pleading for urgency, and it's sent. Deutsch wins the flick on this time, but it's through for Hemming, the St Mirren goalkeeper, who dives on it, and the St Mirren fans are applauding and jumping behind Zach Hemming's goal. They will be absolutely delighted with what they've watched in this first 45 minutes from their team, and they didn't enjoy too many away days last season. St Mirren, just 3 wins on the road in the league. They were outstanding at home, but this is an away day to be savoured so far. Fraser goes back to Hemming, the goalkeeper, who just puts the foot through it, and St Mirren will be content to get to half-time with their lead intact. Here's Newell, heads it to the feet of Levitt, gives it back to Newell, who goes back to Stevenson, but again the pass isn't straight to feet. Stevenson has to scramble across, puts the pass up with the left foot onto the chest of Ewan, who controls it nicely, but he's facing his own goal and in his own half. He spreads it across to Will Fish. Boyle is on halfway, gets the pass, right-hand side. He's going to try and go down the outside, goes for the pass. Doyle-Hayes gets there, but O'Hara just uses his body as a shield and just nips in and wins the ball and goes back to Hemming. It's very comfortable for St Mirren at the moment. Zach Hemming pumps it long. We're into the 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Obita wins the duel. The Hibs wing back on the left-hand side. Pink boots goes to Ewan. Shakes off one challenge, drives in field, step over, and then he passes straight at Greg Kiltie. It just hits off Kiltie. It's fallen for Newell. Here's Levitt, twists and turns. He's moved it out to the left-hand side where Obita is. He's up in line with the box, looks to drive in field at Strain, who just stands incredibly strong. Says, no chance you're going outside, mate, and just stands good defending. And St Mirren now with McMenamin come away with the ball. McMenamin tries to go around the outside of Joe Newell, who's battled back admirably to win the ball, but it's too comfortable for St Mirren for the Hibs, from a Hibs point of view. When they come forward, here's Obita, looks for the pass inside again. St Mirren get a touch, goes up in the air, up to Olusanya. And then a ball in behind for Olasanya. He's up over halfway, right on the right-hand side. He's driving up Paul Hanlon up to the edge of the box. He's got numbers inside with Bacchus, who tries to touch it onto Kiltie, and it's intercepted, and Jake Doyle-Hayes clears down towards halfway. If the pass had gone to feet there...
Hibs got away with it there. St Mirren should have done better. There's a 3v2, edge of the box.
St Mirren with the ball at the back, Strain, and he's in no rush. And why would he be? The side are leading 2-0. We're into the final minute of the 49 that will be played in this first half. O'Hara looks for Bacchus out on the right touchline. He's found him. Lovely scooped pass. Bacchus tries to come inside. He's found McMenamin. Touch out towards the touchline. Back to O'Hara midway through the Hibs half. It's been outstanding, Mark O'Hara. And he drives down towards the right hand touchline in a little back heel to Strain. He's up against Newell. Forced back into McMenamin, who's touch out towards the touchline. St Mirren just managing to keep the ball alive brilliantly. O'Hara uses his body despite being right on the touchline to keep possession. Brilliant from the midfielder. Back to Marcus Fraser, eventually has to play it long, but again Olasanya's willing, but he's offside this time. And St Mirren just almost too strong for Hibs when they...
Hibs are looking heavy-legged all over the pitch. It's like they're all tired already, but that's a mental fatigue. That's confidence, and sometimes drains you of energy.
Long free kick from Marshall. Doidge appeals, said he was being pulled by Fraser, and there is the half-time whistle, and you can listen to what the Hibs fans make of that. They are absolutely livid from what they've seen from their team, and well, they have been poor, but you have to give enormous credit to St Mirren. Outstanding opening 45 minutes from them. It was fairly even in the opening quarter, or the opening 10-12 minutes, but then St Mirren got themselves in front when Kiltie went down under a challenge in the box. There was no penalty given initially, but after Ewan Anderson was sent to the monitor, he overturned the decision, gave a penalty. Mark O'Hara, as he did so many times last season, stepped up and just calmly rolled the ball in for the opener. And barely 2 minutes later it was 2-0. O'Hara with the ball in behind for Toyosi Olasanya, who wasn't even down to start this match, in as a late replacement for Mikael Mandron. He was played in behind and just calmly passed the ball under David Marshall to double St Mirren's lead. And from then the Buddies have been in almost complete control. Passes in the Hibs jerseys haven't been going to teammates, and the fans here are terribly unhappy. Still time to turn this around, but at half-time it is Hibernian 0, St Mirren 2.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Off the top, what a strike, what a goal!
It's your ticket to the Edinburgh Festivals, and you're welcome in wherever you're listening in the country.
Do you want to tell them how?
Catch programmes across August.
We're joined by some of the best performers currently gracing the capital.
The best entertainment, comedy and live music, straight from the heart of the world's biggest celebration of arts and culture.
We have a multitude of marvellous musicians just champing at the bit to perform for you.
That is, of course, if you're up for it.
Join us at the Edinburgh Festivals.
The answer is 4 weeks in Edinburgh. How long does it take pandas to become 100% celibate?
Listen from tomorrow, beginning with the afternoon show on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
I think the one thing we could have guaranteed was that there would be a round of boos at half-time when the referee sounded the end of the first 45 minutes, and that's exactly what we got from those Hibernian fans. I guess from Stephen Robinson's point of view, if you're forcing the opposition manager to make 2 substitutions just 29 minutes into the first game of the season, and it's at your home stadium, then you know, as the away team, you are doing something right. And my goodness, Mirren really have done that throughout the course of the 45 minutes virtually. Very commanding 2-0 advantage right now. Of course, earlier in the weekend, the wins for Celtic, for Hearts, for Kilmarnock last night against Rangers, and the draws, Dundee, Motherwell, Livingston, Aberdeen. It was always going to be a big afternoon, always going to be a big 3 points for whichever side took them, if either side did. And of course, Hibernian still with 45 minutes to try to turn things around, but what a start to the campaign for Stephen Robinson and his team. Live second half commentary to come, and of course you can watch the highlights of this one, and if you've missed them, the highlights from the 5 matches from yesterday. Sport Team tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. In the week ahead, listen out for the Scottish Football podcast. It's daily, it's Monday to Friday. It gets published at BBC Sound. You get it at the website as well, bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. And in terms of the live action, well, it's all about Europe a little bit later in the week. Wednesday, there's the Champions League third qualifying round. It's the first leg. It's at Ibrox. It's Rangers against Servette. You'll get that live on Sports Scene from 7:30 on Sports Sound from just after 7 o'clock. And both radio and TV coverage coming up on Thursday as well. Europa Conference, the third qualifying round. Again, the first leg there, Hibernian battling through last week. They will be at home to Luzern in their first leg. That's at 7:45 kick-off. Hearts, 6 o'clock start against Rosenborg in Norway. Live coverage, radio, and that Hibs Luzern game live on the telly as well. So lots to look forward to in the week ahead. Make sure you're with us here on Sports Sound and also live on Sports Scene too. As for the rest of the weekend coverage, well, it's a shell-shocked Easter Road, you would have to say. Well, following the opening 45 minutes, Stephen McGinn, I think you outed yourself as a St Mirren fan. I'm not sure that was really a case of outing yourself. I think we all knew. But my goodness, what 45 minutes for your old team.
I mean, it was a half of dreams to start the season. I think I spoke about with the 3-4-3 formation, how come to Easter Road against the wingers like Martin Boyle and Ellis Ewan, how it can be dictated into a 5-4-1 if you're not careful. You need to be really brave, really aggressive with it. And I think the front three of St Mirren have ran the game. They've totally dictated the whole game to St Mirren, to Hibs. And to the point now, you're looking at half-time, Hibs tried to get back into that game playing the way St Mirren play. They've changed to a 3-5-2 formation. They're trying to get the ball up early. They're taking time over to take a long throw in. St Mirren will deal with that all day. That's their game. For Hibs to try and get back into this game, they're going to have to be back to being Hibs and try and take the game to St Mirren in the way that Stephen Robinson would be worried about the game coming into the game, with Martin Boyle picking up high, as I said, dictating it to a 5-4-1, keeping St Mirren pinned back, because Marcus Fraser will have been coming to Easter Road for 10 years. He'll not have had an easier half of football in his whole career here. Usually you're really kept honest, you're at times one-on-one with a winger. He's had absolutely nothing to do.
Which is an indictment, I suppose, on Hibernian and their performance so far. John, you spoke beforehand about the attractive nature of football that Hibs can play at the top end of the park.
We talked at Hibs at the top of the pitch and how we thought they were exciting. So the front three have done nothing. Martin Boyle, Johan and Doige. To be fair to Boyle, he's had no service. Johan's had a lot of the ball and did absolutely nothing except give the ball away. And also, I'm questioning his desire and attitude. When you're in the front three, you're a striker when your team's got the ball at the back, but when the opposition's got the ball, you're a defender. And you've got to show more desire, sprinting, pressure, their fullbacks, their centre-halves, making them play rush passes. That never happened with Hibs' front three at all. But they identified the weakness. Stephen Robinson very early, Del Ferry, a right back. He's not a right back. And they identified the lack of pace in Hibs' central defenders down the side. So they got their game plan spot on, St Mirren. And the worrying thing from Hibs is once they conceded the goal, there was a lack of, I think, thought in Hibs players. You're getting at the back and they're looking at the top of the pitch. Doige has got 3 central defenders, so it's 1 player v3. The 2 wing backs are tucked in, taking Johan and Boyle. That's not where you put the ball. You don't put the ball in the air when there's 1v3. You've got to work it through the phases of play. And that sometimes that was happening because at the back they were getting the ball and the midfield players were not making the angles to receive the ball. So I can blame the midfield players for not demanding the ball. But the back three, less long balls up the area. It's not working for Hibs. St Mirren are dealing with it so easily. But the manager's got a big team job to do in there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Stephen, you were making the point that Hibs kind of almost switched to try to mirror the St Mirren approach. But the bottom line is that Hibs aren't St Mirren, and St Mirren they've been working, they know this formula inside out. They've been working on it all week long in training, and the games have already played this season. It comes almost naturally to them.
Yeah, as you say, get into a game, if you can get the game, if St Mirren can get the game to look at the way it's gone, it's the stuff of dreams. When you think about Mark O'Hara, Keanu Bacchus, and you're playing against Dylan Levitt, Joe Newell, Jake Doyle-Hayes, 3v2 in midfield, you're thinking this could be a problem here. If they rotate, if they go on the ball, if they dictate the game to us, we're going to have a lot of work in our hands. But it's actually not been the case. It's not been a midfield battle at all. Almost all that's happened here is the St Mirren forwards have dictated the game to Hibs defence, created so much space for McMenamin and Kilty to come in, and then Bacchus and O'Hara just supporting it. What the message will be in the St Mirren dressing room is, if you think the ball into Olasanya was on in the first half and we've had joy with it, it's going to be on times 10 in this second half. Hibs will start to commit bodies, it's going to be on all the time, and if we get that next goal, the game's completely gone. So reinforce the message of the ball to Olasanya, but also let's continue the game the way it's going. Let's keep it in the way we play, because we win this all day.
Yeah, I've got to say, I saw a bit of Olasanya last season. He was out on loan at Arbroath. I remember him scoring a last gasp equaliser up at Cove. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have anticipated him causing the kind of problems for a Premiership defence, but clearly he's a player who is more than capable of operating at this level. I've
spoke to a few of the boys and they said that he turned up for pre-season fitter, hungrier. You could tell there was a difference in him over the summer. And football can change. You aren't written off by one bad season, by one bad loan spell. He said a wee look at himself maybe and thought, no, I can do this in training, I can compete with these boys in training, but I need to get fitter. I need to come back and really have a go at this, because my St Mirren career, it wasn't looking good. I didn't have any high hopes for him coming back in the summer. In fact, I didn't even consider him as a part of the plans. But they've said he's came back fitter and hungrier, and in this form, he's been unplayable here.
Yeah, he has caused major issues, particularly for Fish and Hanlon. It is 2-0 for St Mirren at half-time. O'Hara got the first goal. It was from probably the longest delayed VAR decision I think we've encountered, John, and I fully appreciate that the ball hadn't gone out of play.
Yeah,
so
the
they have to wait.
The
they have to wait
until
that
the referee
point.
does have to wait.
But it had been so long that I think no one in the stadium was anticipating that we were going to be called back for that. And what did, I've got to say, back at the stand here, all day long looked like a trip by Greg Kilty, other than, as you boys picked up in the commentary, for one reason: the reaction of the player.
I think you can always tell with the reaction when it's so blatant and he's so animated and he's screaming at the referee, and you think, you know what, he's going to have been caught, because it'll be pretty embarrassing watching it on the television later on at night when he's screaming, jumping about, and he's not being touched. So as soon as we went back to it, we both said the reaction, it looks like he's going to give the penalty.
And we've seen clips. There's minimal contact, but he's caught him. It's a penalty.
It's minimum, and it's they're always given nowadays. Those are penalties. In the old days, they were called touches, and now they're called fouls, and you get penalties. It's frustrating, but that's the laws now.
One thing St Mirren can rely on, John, is Mark O'Hara stepping up from the spot. He's consummate, isn't he?
Yeah, cool, calm, collected. He just popped it in the corner, kept his cool, and did what he's done for the last few years. Put the ball on the back of the net on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden the first goal goes in, and that edginess, as we talked about, the crowd can be for you. Score the early goal and they're full of energy and they're singing. Concede a goal here sometimes and the fans can turn very quick, and they did. They started their bones, and all of a sudden it's second quick goal. Last thing that Hibs needed. Everything what St Mirren wanted. 2-0. Poor goal from Hibs' point of view. Two centre halves maybe on their heels, but centre forward, he's sharp, he's off the mark, Yana, and he's tucked it away nicely. I think it's in between the goalkeeper's legs. 2-0 earlier in the game. It's a dream first 45 for St Mirren, an absolute killer from Hibs. But we've been there before. 2-0, it can be a dangerous score. Hibs get a goal, and then it's a transformation in the stands, and all of a sudden you can see players, they come alive, they look quicker, they look sharper. So that's the challenge for Hibs. Can they get the next goal?
Yeah, it's a dangerous score, but you'd still always rather be 2-0 up than 2-0 down.
Without a doubt, but at least they've got 45 minutes. The manager will be in there saying 45 minutes. If we get the next goal, all of a sudden there's a little bit nervousness creeps in. If you're 2-0 up and you lose the game, or it gets back to 2-0, you've seen it so many times. 2-0, complete control, command, all of a sudden 2-1, 2-2, bang. And opposition can be all over the place, but Hibs have have to show more composure. They have to change their game plan. As I said before, we like Doidge. He's good in the air. There's no point throwing balls into him for him to flick it onto nobody. And I don't know how many times, maybe 4 or 5 times he got flick-ons, but you're just giving away possession.
The substitution of Del Ferrier, I mean, I think everyone in the stadium probably could see that one coming. It was almost an act of mercy. But Campbell going off?
Campbell was a surprise one. He didn't see any worse than anybody else on the pitch, and he is the one that, if you're looking for a goal, he's the one that often delivers. So it's kind of a strange one to take off when he is a goal threat. He's got a couple of goals during the week. He didn't look too happy when he was taken off, but that's the manager. Managers, you make these decisions. Sometimes you have a gut feeling, sometimes they work and you're the hero, or after the game they don't work, you're pillared in the media.
So John Collins ever hooked in the first half?
I don't think I've ever been hooked in the first half. Maybe wrong, but no, I don't think so. No,
you wouldn't admit it anyway, would you?
I wouldn't be telling anybody live on here if I was, but no,
Stephen,
I don't think
what happened to you?
Never in the first half, but I've not seen the second half quite often.
Well, certainly Del Ferrier and Campbell will be watching the second half, and so too will Lee Johnson, the Hibernian manager, who will be desperately hoping that he can turn things round. It has been a really, really difficult start for the home side to the league season. 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. Mark O'Hara. It was much delayed. It was a VAR decision, but it was a penalty. We've seen the clips. It clearly was a penalty. Kilty caught by Newell. O'Hara sent Marshall the wrong way, and within 2 minutes it was Mark O'Hara who fed the ball through. He split the heart of the Hibernian defence, and Olasanya raced away from Fish and Hanlon to roll the ball through Marshall's legs and to double the advantage. At half-time, Hibernian 0, St Mirren 2. The players back out. Live second half commentary here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with Stephen McGinn, John Collins and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Richard. Well, a bit of a mountain to climb, you have to say, for Hibs. Of course, if they get a quick goal, it all looks a lot rosier, and a chance to maybe make St Mirren a bit nervous. Thing or two to think about. Maybe get the crowd back on side. Heard the boos at half-time. St Mirren have only won one of their last 10 trips to Easter Road. Stephen Robinson's never won here as a manager of St Mirren or Motherwell, and he's 45 minutes plus the inevitable lengthy stoppage time away from doing just that. Mark O'Hara gets us underway in this second half at Easter Road. Ewan Anderson blows the whistle, and immediately it's played up towards McMenamin. But I suppose, John, you're looking for more composure from Hibs in this second half.
It's all decision making, and so composure comes into that. When you get the ball, you can't look for the furthest player up the park. More often than not, when the confidence is low, I said it, you look for the player closest to you. So they've got to get more confidence, more possession of the ball, more simple passes. But crowd's a big thing. Crowd sticks with you if you see every single player with instant reactions. You lose the ball, it's an instant 100% sprint to try and get back or try and press it. It's not a jog, it's not a three-quarter sprint. So that's the message of hope for the manager's got to these players. The fans will stay with us if they see you chasing and hounding.
Yeah, St Mirren, though, it was on the front foot. McMenamin put a decent ball into the box, but it was just over his teammates and it went through. Again, St Mirren getting the ball forward quickly, but it's not aimless, it's considered, and they get up the pitch. Hibs challenging in midfield. Levitt gets a foot in, he's done well, he's battling, but then he's lost out at the second attempt to McMenamin, who's a good start here. It's well tracked back by Levitt, who goes back and pinches the ball, and then he's looking for Obita up the left hand side, but it's cut out. Strain then loses the ball. Here's Newell, looks for the run of Ewan in behind, but Gogic gets across and puts it out for a throw-in on this near side. And has a little shout at his teammates. Throw-in Hibs. Obita leaves the ball for Newell, who they can tell is going to wind this one up because Paul Hanlon and Will Fish are on their bikes. They're up into the penalty area. And it's an extra set piece which St Mirren, or Hibs rather, will look to take advantage of. Here is Newell, winds one up, flings it in up towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's bobbing about in there. Fish just misses connecting with the ball, edge of the 6-yard box. He swung his right boot at it, and had he connected, he might have given Hibs a lifeline in this game. As it stands, he missed it.
It's the closest they've come to a goal, I think.
Yeah, and I think he was maybe unsighted as it came round the back of the defender, but it's the first time St Mirren have maybe looked a bit unconvincing when the ball's come into their box. Here's Obita, hooks it downfield for Hibs. Doidge wants a foul, doesn't get it, comes back towards Yuan. Richard Taylor wins the header and the second, and he's clattered into by Christian Doidge, and that looked a sore one. Doidge is protesting furiously, Newell's having a go at the ref, and there are these and it's a booking for Christian Doidge. He did clatter into Taylor late. I think he was frustrated he didn't get a foul in the first place, but there are new rules as well this season, or guidelines from UEFA down through the SFA to the referees, that if players surround the officials, they're going to get booked.
Again, we're looking at the reaction of Doidge. It looks like he says, I've won the ball, I've went for it, fully committed, but fairness, he has caught him. It looks like he's caught him as well at the same time.
I thought it was quite harsh. He didn't lead with the elbow. He might have just caught him with the head late. It seems a bit harsh for a yellow card, but just hoping that Richard Taylor's okay here now.
Yeah, the physio is twisting Richard Taylor's head from side to side on the deck, obviously checking he's not done any damage. He's lying flat on his back.
Strikers like Christian Doidge are punished enough when they lead with their arm. So when they don't lead with their arm, that's what will frustrate Christian Doidge. He'll take his yellows when he's maybe led with the arm, maybe he's caught him with his arm or his forearm. But when you're leading with your head, it's harsh to pick up a booking for that.
Yeah, well, Richard Taylor is on his feet. He's shaking his head from side to side. I hope he's okay. Looks it. He's signalling to the bench, speaking to Stephen Robinson, says I'm all right, and he'll continue. And St Mirren will continue with Zach Hemming, the goalkeeper, taking this free kick in his own half. Right-footed, long down the field. Stevenson goes up to challenge, loses out to McMenamin, who's got a good jump on him, and then Olasanya, who's ran the channels really effectively, and he's won his side a throw in on the near side. St Mirren 2-0 in front against Hibs here at Easter Road, 4 minutes into the second half. Here's Strain looking for options, gives it to Bacchus, who gives it straight back first time to Strain on this right-hand touchline. Gives it into the feet of Bacchus, back to Strain. He's not really got an opening for a cross, so he has to shift it infield. O'Hara gets there and he nips it away from Christian Doidge superbly, and then moves it on to Taylor. O'Hara gets it back, he's under a bit of pressure from Doyle Hayes. Back to Gogic, who drives forward and almost thought he'd overrun that, but he slid in and managed to get it to Taylor. And St Mirren on the move. It's left by Kiltie for Olasanya, left-hand side of the box. He looks for Kiltie, the cut back, but it was cut out, and then an offside flag belatedly goes up. 2-0 St Mirren. And the game pattern of the game, Stephen, hasn't really changed too much.
No, St Mirren aren't going to change. They're not going to drop any deeper. I wonder if there's a consideration among the Hibs coaching staff to maybe take Lewis Stevenson or Jordan Obita back off and go back to the 4-3-3, because Hibs are only going to win this playing Hibs' way. They're not going to win this playing like St Mirren play.
Long way down the field from Marshall, flicked on by Doidge, who wins it this time. Obita goes after the seconds, but Strain won the header and then took the nudge from Obita and gets the free kick.
Once again, Doidge wins the header, but the players either side of him, they're no used to playing that flick on football.
Yeah, and you can see Doidge just growing more and more frustrated, both with the service and the fact that there's a few free kicks going against him. He's on a yellow card, so he'll need to watch. Hemming, the goalkeeper for St Mirren, signals, pushes his teammates over to the right-hand side, and he's looking for McMenamin, who goes up, goes over him and Stevenson, and Olasanya's picked up, goes down, gets a free kick, corner of the box on the right-hand side. Obita kind of just ran into him. Ewan Anderson blows the whistle, and it'll be a St Mirren free kick, right-hand corner of the box, and a chance to whip this in.
Dangerous area. It was a free kick, the referee's called it right. I don't know what Obita's on about, having a go at the referee. His foot was high, caught him on the chest.
I think Del Ferrer, we were harshly probably criticising him because it's not his position, yes. But Jordan Obita has been signed here as a starting Hibs player, and he looks to have been caught out with the pace of the game.
Yeah, he's a left back, playing left wing back now that they've shifted this formation, as the guys pointed out in the first half. And St Mirren right hand side of the box, and it's McMenamin who's fancying it. Strain is also over it as well. It's a good crossing opportunity. It's the left foot of McMenamin right to the back post, but it's over everyone, including Mark O'Hara, who was the last man, and out for a goal kick. Marshall tries to go quickly and is closed down, and the Hibs fans want urgency, but the Hibs players need composure, calmness. They've still got time to get back in this game, trailing by 2-0. O'Hara and Olasanya, the scorers for St Mirren in the first half, in the space of 2 minutes. Flicked on by Boyle up towards Yuan. Again, no Taylor wins the ball, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. And St Mirren are just eating up this kind of direct play that Hibs are favouring at the moment.
They're playing into St Mirren's hands. There'll be the manager there rubbing his hands. Long balls up.
Doidge wins one this time and tries to get it into the path of Yuan, but Fraser read it, hooked it away. Here's Levitt, middle of the pitch. He's being bypassed a lot of the time, but he's moved it on. There's Fish, who gives it and then makes a run. Boyle jinks inside, gives it to Levitt, 30 yards out, and he's tried to play it into the path of Boyle, and Yuan goes after it. Taylor defends it well, holds off Yuan, takes a touch in his own box, and then moves it out to the left-hand side. And Tanzer thumps it off of Jake Doyle-Hayes and out for a throw into St Mirren on the far side. 2-0. The Buddies lead here at Easter Road. And we've played 8 minutes, Stephen, in this second half, and yet to see an upturn in Hibs' fortunes or play, really.
No, but it was a bit better there from Dylan Levitt. A clever wee side pass. And St Mirren weren't expecting it. They're just waiting in the big diagonal, and he mixed it up and it caused them a bit of problems. So Dylan Levitt and Joe Newell and Jake Doyle-House have to get on the ball, or else there's no point in taking Josh Campbell off, because he's the only one that gets in beyond Christian Doidge.
And there's a ball up the right-hand side. Kiltie's come across to fetch it midway through the Hibs half. He's forced backwards by Paul Hanlon, Hibs captain for the season. And it's played up the line, and McMenamin gets a ricochet of the ball, and then he loses out in the end to Stevenson. And Levitt again looks for the long pass of Doidge, who's stretching those long legs of his, and he gets there. It's good running out on the left from Christian Doidge. He's held it up, he's back to Obika, who's in support, into Yuan. He's played the first time past to Newell, who's down left hand side of the box, crosses it low to the near post. Richard Taylor's there to clear out to the throw-in on the near side. Much better from Hibernian, who trailed by 2-0.
Much better, because all of a sudden it's short passes, players making runs.
Obita cross with the right foot, again dealt with fairly comfortably at the first attempt by St Mirren. Hibs have it back. Hanlon, first time past the Boyle, right hand side, he's taking a touch, he's driving infield, he's using those quick feet of his, but O'Hara again gets in, then it's given away, and then St Mirren recover, and it's ballooned down the pitch by Tanzer, and Hibs have it back. Levitt, almost a heavy touch, which Bacchus looked to profit from, but Dylan Levitt did just get the pass away. Stevenson again looks for the long ball to Doidge. He's flicked that onto Boyle, who's picked up the scraps. 20 yards from goal, he's going to shoot with the right foot. It's blocked by Scott Tanzer. Throw in on the far side, but Hibs, just as I said, they hadn't really upped the intensity. They've managed to get things going in the last minute or so, 10 minutes into this second half, trailing by 2-0. Stevenson, Obita, left-hand touchline, takes a touch infield, then checks back. Good run up the left from Stevenson, but the pass from Obita's too far in front of him. Stevenson's kept it in, but McMenamin was able to just nick back and get the ball. Here's Olasanya battling with Obita, still going Olasanya. Hanlon goes in with a sliding challenge, and he's won the free kick. And well, what a game he's had. Tayose Olasanya, goal scorer, and he's ran the channels ever so well.
That's unbelievable play from Olasanya. It's for the first time St Mirren look a wee bit out of shape. Hibs have had a wee bit of joy, and he wins a ball he's no right to win, and then ends up earning a foul off of Paul Hanlon.
And the rain is coming down at Easter Road out of nowhere. It's fairly bright, a few clouds around, but the heavens have opened. Strain with a free kick from deep, right foot, headed away by Fish, only as far as O'Hara, who sends it back with a head. Fish gets back up just ahead of Olasanya, who's come back though and won it out to the feet of Taylor. Then O'Hara, first time little pass round the corner out to the left where Tanzer is going to cross from deep. He's not got a hold of that at all, and it's cleared from just at the edge of the box by Levitt. Taylor with a touch, poor touch to Boyle, who can only pass it straight back to Gogic, who then gives it away to Doyle-Hayes. Scrappy stuff. Doyle-Hayes looks for the running behind of Boyle. He's going to get there. No, he's not. Yuan does though, and head of Gogic out on the right hand side, tries to go by Gogic, gets the ball into the box. It's onto the shoulder of Christian Doidge, who can't control it. He tried to control it or perhaps steer it across to Boyle, who was in support inside the box, but just came off his shoulder, and St Mirren were able to get in and relieve the danger. Here's Newell. Hibs come again, lifted over for Yuan, who's got their head of Taylor. He's into the box, up to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Yuan! It's wide, saved by Hemming. He flung himself at the ball, and I think it's come off the legs and spun behind for a corner kick.
His pace as usual has got him to the byline, but does he make the right choice? A hard angle. I think he's got to be cutting that back for Doidge for a little tap in.
Yeah, he should be looking to cut it back, but I think for the first time Hibs are making Richard Taylor defend. He's switched off there, he's been totally done for pace there. It is an area of the park Hibs cannot exploit.
Corner to Hibs over on the far side. It's going to come in there. Crowded penalty into the near post, and Fish got the header, but it was miles off target. And he is a threat from set pieces, that's for sure.
Much better 5 minutes from Hibs. Confidence is coming back, they're making passes, they're getting in behind, looking livelier. Looking a little bit shaky.
Yeah, a big moment for Zach Hemmings at the start of his St Mirren career. It didn't really quite happen from last year at Kilmarnock. He's got big gloves to fill with Trevor Carson leaving. That could be a big save in the context of the match.
Yeah, he rushed out and he was celebrating the save as if it was a goal. The goalkeeper, as you say, Stephen, started off first choice at Killie last season, but got an injury and a couple of errors and ended up very much on the bench for the rest of the campaign. But he was outstanding for Kilmarnock in the Championship, so we'll see what he's got. As you say, not an easy feat to fill the gloves of Trevor Carson, who's of course off to Dundee. And here's Stevenson midway through the St Mirren half of the throw, and he's thrown it over the head of Bacchus to Yuan, who's taken a good touch, but then he's crowded out and Bacchus gets in there. Really good challenge, uses his backside to shield the ball. Then McMenamin back to Strain, whose clearance is blocked by Stevenson out for a throw-in. Hibs just trying to get up the pitch and pin St Mirren back. They did it in the first 10 minutes, but then since the goals, there's not been a huge sign of it. And Marcus Fraser trots up to take the throw-in. And he's looking for options. He's going to just fling it up the touchline, Marcus Fraser. McMenamin loses out, and here is Doyle Hayes. Levitt under pressure from McMenamin, goes back to Hanlon midway through his own half. The Hibs captain rolls it across the Fish out to the right hand side, and Boyle, who's had a lot more touches in this half. He tried to go around the outside there, and the challenge went in, and now St Mirren are on the counter. Kiltie running up midway through the Hibs half. He's offloaded it to Olasanya, left hand side, out to Tanzer, who's going to get the left footed cross in, blocked by Fish, and it's out for a throw in on the far side, the left hand side. St Mirren still leading Hibs by 2 goals to 0 as we approach the hour mark here at Easter Road. St Mirren, what a first half it was for them. O'Hara receives the throw in back to Tanzer. He's crossed it, it's not a great one. McMenamin tries to make the most of it, and then Olasanya really pressurises Hanlon before he can clear, and he's been a nuisance all afternoon to Uzi Olasanya. Here comes O'Hara, left hand side. He's played it into the underlapping on a Kiltie. Can he fetch this? He can. He puts it to Olasanya at the near post. Good defending from Hanlon to clear. St Mirren putting the pressure on. I think there's going to be a change. Brian McLaughlin can tell us about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a change, and it's going to be Martin Boyle who's going to be coming off after playing 60 minutes this afternoon, and he's going to be replaced by the 36-year-old striker. Signed his last club was Mumbai City, Adam Lafondre.
Yeah, well, I mean, Martin Boyle obviously is not back up to full fitness and speeds. Only played his first competitive match against Interclub de Scales on Thursday. Need to be careful with him.
Yeah, 100%. He's been out for a long time, 6 months.
And here's Hanlon under pressure again from Olasanya. He came across nicely and intercepted, and then he's cleared it up the touchline. But St Mirren, after being under pressure for a couple of minutes, have just got themselves up the pitch, and now Hibs are forced to defend. Throw in to the feet of Kiltie, turns away, and he's dinked that over, and it's going to be there for Tanzer, and he's going to accept the corner kick because it came off a nick off the Hibs player, and St Mirren will have the corner over on the left hand side, and a chance once more to put Hibs under pressure. 2-0 they lead, and it's going to be Strain who goes across to take this, and Gogic is prowling the edge of the area. He's moving up, and St Mirren, they've put a lot of them to the back post. There's no one standing there at the moment. Richard Taylor is on the edge of the 6-yard box. Here's Strain's corner into the near post this time. Doidge gets up to clear towards the edge of the box. It's flicked on to McMenamin, out to the left hand side again where Strain is. He's going to put it in with the right foot, headed on by Taylor, and then here is O'Hara out on the right hand side. Flag goes up. O'Hara must have been offside. These late flags, and St Mirren leading by 2 goals to 0. 17 played in the second half.
A big part of St Mirren's strength last year was that partnership early on with Junge and Curtis Main, and I think Curtis Main probably the best season of his career. But in terms of this St Mirren front three, they've looked absolutely devastating at times. You've got the pace of Olasanya. McMenamin puts a shift in. He's tricky. He's been really good in the air against Lewis Stevenson. And Greg Hilty's so intelligent dropping into those areas that the Hibs centre-halves don't know what to do with him. So a real positive for the St Mirren fans.
Big round of applause for Martin Boyle, a fan favourite round here. Not been his day, and they're looking after him as he makes his comeback. And as Brian told us moments ago, Adam Lafondre is on the pitch, the experienced striker, and he's gone straight up to centre forward to play alongside Doidge, who wins the flick on from the goal kick. Then Obita wins the seconds. Up to Lafondre, gets his first touch. He's up against Gogic right on the near side, and it's gone out for a throw-in. Lafondre wanted a free kick, felt he was shoved in the back there.
Looked like a free kick.
Yeah, it's one of those where they felt the contact and went down, but it's given us a throw-in, and Marcus Fraser will take, launches it up the touchline, flicked on by McMenamin, who's won an awful lot of headers for St Mirren, and then it's a long ball. Taylor's under pressure from Doidge, they're tussling, and it's won by the defender, and then Fraser lumps it long. Hanlon under it at the other end. Taylor getting a bit more of a challenge in this second half. Here's McMenamin right hand side for St Mirren, though he's taking it a run. Stevenson gets in front of him. Now he's trying to shepherd it out, then manages to get the clearance up the touchline, claims for the throw-in, and it definitely did not take a nick off McMenamin, and it'll be a St Mirren throw-in this near side in line with the edge of the Hibs penalty area. St Mirren leading by 2-0. Those first half strikes, 15 minutes O'Hara from the penalty spot after Kilty was fouled, 17 minutes Olasanya stuck it calmly past Marshall, and that's the difference between the sides. Throw-in comes in, then McMenamin tries it, I don't know if that was a cross or a shot, but it goes straight to David Marshall in any case with a left foot, and on they go. Marshall plays quickly. Here's Yuan dropping very deep. He's run it up to over the halfway line now. He's looking for a pass, tries the left-footed pass, but he just hits straight off Scott Tanzer, who then plays it down the touchline straight to Will Fish, and Hibs just not getting anywhere near St Mirren's goal at the moment. They need something. 20 minutes nearly played in this second half, and they trail by 2-0. That one chance for Yuan and the one for Fish, which didn't quite fall for him. The two opportunities in this second half that they've had and not made the most of, and that's missed by Tanzer. Now Yuan's down the right hand side, he's running into the box, he's cut it back towards Joe Newell, but it just didn't have the pace, the pass, and it allowed Gogic to turn back and clear. And now here's Bacchus midway through his own half, gives it to Kilty. He's trying to get up the pitch, he's nudges it onto Bacchus, but Will Fish puts his foot through it, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. Hibs 0, St Mirren 2.
Again, earlier, Johan, it can be so frustrating. He gets into good positions, and you think the simple thing to do now is just a simple cut back, and he scuffs it. He doesn't even connect correctly. Not only that, they counter-attack. That's the danger. When there's 3-4 bodies getting in the box and it's short, the opposition counter-attack you.
It's a frustrating thing for the Hibs fans, because Ellie Ewan's got that many options. I mean, Scott Tanzer's tried to gamble on it, he's totally missed it. Ellie Ewan's got that many options, and he just doesn't make any sort of connection with the ball.
Well, Hibs need some answers, and here's Stevenson trying to take it by the scruff of the neck. Charges over halfway out to Obita on the left-hand side. But St Mirren get back and just double up on the wing-back, and the cross can't go in, and then goes deep to Stevenson, who does get the cross in towards Doidge, who loses out to Taylor, claims for a foul. It goes all the way through to Yuan on the right-hand side, tries a cross with the right foot, blocked by Tanzer, and then he clears it at the second attempt down the field. And Doidge is getting frustrated, and then O'Hara picks up for St Mirren, and he's prodded this in behind for Olasanya, who looks like he's very much struggling in terms of what he's got left in the tank. There's going to be a change for St Mirren. Brian?
Yeah, I think the tank is empty because Toyosi Olasanya is going to be replaced. The player coming on will be the New Zealand international Alex Grieve. An impact last season, mainly on the bench, but he is going to be coming on for Olasanya, who of course should have been starting the game on the bench.
Yeah, well, Alex Grieve got a goal for St Mirren the last time these sides met, and he'll be coming on shortly. Yuan tries to play it in behind for Lafondre. He gets across the grass really well out to the right hand side. He's crossed this to the back post, but the cross is not a good one. It's over everyone all the way, and Obita's just going to keep it in on the left hand side. In fact, he takes a touch, and that looked out. St Mirren are saying so, they've stopped, and the referee does signal that it was out.
It's a disappointing ball. It's far too long overhit, but Obita should have got that. He should have stopped that, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's got to keep that in. But Olasanya set a standard here for the St Mirren career. As I said, it's really not got going before this season, but what a big performance that's been from them.
Yeah, the fans here from Paisley, a little corner of the stand away to our right, and they are applauding Toyosi Olasanya. A goal, an all-round outstanding performance. He gets the congratulations of the St Mirren bench, takes his seat, and Alex Grieve will try and have a similar impact as his teammate as he takes to the field. Throw in from Fraser up the touchline, flicked on by McMenamin. Grieve chases after it, but it goes out, and Hibs will have the throw in. But I wonder, interesting to see how Lafondra goes, because he's got a good goal scoring record in his career, but 36 now, and spells in India, Australia. Obviously he knows Brian McDermott, the Hibs technical director, from when they were in the Premier League at Hibs. And it's up towards Doidge, headed away by Taylor. Back to Tanzer, who's almost on the byline, but he's under minimal pressure. Yuan approaches, and then Tanzer sends it long. Grieve is tussling with Fish. Fish gets a header on it, and then Levitt, but it's passes straight to McMenamin. He's charging towards the edge of the box. He's got Stevenson for company. He's into the box, right-hand side, right at the corner. Turns back, he's forced back, and then he's clipped by Stevenson. No foul, says the referee. Goes into the box, headed away, and then Levitt picks up. Advantage being played as Lafondra hits the deck. Here's Yuan, he's one-on-one with Tanzer. He's going to go outside him. He does go outside him. He's up to midway through the St Mirren half on the touchline, up to in line with the box, puts the cross in. It's to the back post, and Strain nods it away, but Obita's going to pick it up on the left-hand side, the wing-back. He's under pressure from Fraser, has to go back to Stevenson, who's thought about the cross from deep, gives it back to Obita, gives it infield to Newell. Left-hand side for Hibs. It's 3-on-2 though in favour of St Mirren. Alex Grieve working extremely hard to get back. Here's Newell, and every time it goes into the wide areas, St Mirren are so effective at just stopping the crosses.
Yeah, even when McMenamin's down with injuries, St Mirren still managed to smother Hibs into a 4v3, and they really can't get any space to create anything.
Cross from Newell is low and easily dealt with, and then St Mirren clear. Hanlon goes back towards his own goal, and McMenamin, who's not stopped running all afternoon here at Easter Road, puts him under pressure, but they go back to Marshall, the goalkeeper. Levitt drops in, spreads it out towards the touchline on the right hand side where Will Fish is, gives it to Yuan, gives it back to Levitt, looks up, moves it on to Doyle Hayes, who's in the centre circle, crosses halfway now. He's taking it a little run, feeds Stevenson on the left hand side, very deep. He's got Grieve for company, moves it infield to Doyle Hayes, now to Obita, who Hibs, whenever they get the ball out on one side or the other, they've got a black shirt around them. Here's Doyle Hayes, chips it to Fish. Yuan right on the right hand side, very deep infield for Newell, gives it back, and St Mirren just stay in their shape, force Hibs back, and then Levitt is dispossessed, nipped in front of, and St Mirren go on the counter. Here's Grieve midway through the Hibs half, he's up towards the box, he's got options, he takes a shot on, blocked by Paul Hanlon. Good defending in the end, but again slack from Hibs in the middle of the park. They trail by 2-0.
Young Levitt, he gives the ball away in the middle of the pitch, goes down to ground, takes far too long to get up, and it's a jog back. It's never a jog back, it's a sprint back. Small details that make a difference.
Well, Hanlon bailed out his teammate, and it's going to be a throw-in on this near side to St Mirren, leading by 2-0. 26 minutes played in the second half, less than 20 to play plus of the 90. Throw in Grieve, he's turned away from Levitt and eventually dispossessed in the box. Newell comes away, he's given it to Lafondra, who's got Doidge in support. He stretches the legs, Doidge is going to look for the pass to the back post. Here's Adam Lafondra, it's in! Hibs have won back at Easter Road.
Absolutely magnificently worked goal. The first piece of total football in opposition's half in the whole game. And what happens is a goal. Starts with Joe Newell here, middle of the park, drives forward, plays a superb ball. Does it go to Christian Doidge? What a delivery from Doidge. It's an inch perfect pass, and Lafondra, a terrific finish right in the bottom corner. No power, but accuracy. Game on.
I think Hemmings could save it. I think it seems to get in really slow, but what St Mirren manager will be so angry about is from Alex Grieve not slipping in Greg Kiltie for what looked like 3-0. They get a throw in the attacking area. How can you get countered on so badly? They were wide open. Hibs have still got a lot of work to do. Amazing counter-attack, but how can you get counter-attacked on from your own throw?
Well, there's a possible, well, there is an offside check, and decision is goal. There we go. Quick one there. Goal being checked. That is Adam Lafondra's first goal for Hibs, and it was, as you say, right-footed. He just put it low into the corner. It's exactly where he should put it, but it didn't have a great deal of pace. The goalkeeper didn't get there, and Hibs have a lifeline, and suddenly this place, well, they were all on their feet around us. There's something to shout about, and now we'll see what St Mirren are made of as we approach the half-hour mark in this second half. Hibs with a goal back, still trailing by 2-1, and Marshall receives the throw in his own box, and it's brought out by Hanlon, and that was a good counter-attack, and fair play to Doidge, because he's not known for his pace, but he got to that pass, stretched the legs, and there he's chested it here to Doyle Hayes. Yuan out on the right hand side, he's going to take on Tanzer, puts the cross in over the head of Newell, cleared. Stevenson will scramble back, and Easter Road has come to life. Here's Obita, left hand side, he's going to try and take on Strain. He goes inside him, that's brilliant from Obika. Low cross blocked by Bacchus, behind for a corner kick. Hibs smell blood now.
It's incredible, what a goal. As we said at half time, all of a sudden Hibs players are looking sharper, and the St Mirren players are looking a little bit leggier.
Doyle Hayes is across to the near side, puts both hands in the air, he's ready to take, right-footed, whips it into the middle of the penalty area. Taylor's header, it's not gone away though, and O'Hara had to hook it away. St Mirren, as John just said, all of a sudden don't look quite so confident. Cross comes in, it's flicked on by Doidge, straight down Hemming's throat, but immediately crosses that were nowhere near their intended target suddenly finding Hibs' heads, and there is still time, still 15 minutes plus whatever is added for Hibs to find an equaliser and perhaps even a winner. David Marshall claims the ball as it trundles through to him, rolls out to Fish, checks back, gives it to Levitt, who's dropping deep into his own half, moves it to Stevenson, the left back, up to Obita. And that was a little flash from Obita, got inside his man. We've not seen too much of that so far. Managed to get inside Strain moments ago. Long from Marshall, up towards Lafondra, who's fouled by Marcus Fraser. Ewan Anderson blows the whistle, and suddenly those fouls are going Hibs' way.
Did well, Lafondra there, it was cute, just backed into Marcus Fraser, bought the foul.
And it's going to be a free kick, about, it's very deep, 40 yards away. Doyle Hayes and Newell are going to just try and stick this in the box. St Mirren with a high line on the edge of the D in their own box. It's going to be Newell with a left foot, floats it in towards Doidge. It's flicked on by Fish. Then Fraser gets the header out towards the far side. It's helped on its way out the box by Mark O'Hara, and then O'Grieve gets there, but he can only put it out for a Hibs throw-in on the far side. Hibs trailing by 2-1 here. And there's going to be another change for St Mirren. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, Caelan Boyd Munce is going to be coming on. He's going to be replacing Conor McMenamin for the last 15 minutes or so, and there may be another couple of changes as well going to be made by St Mirren. We're just discussing exactly what those are going to be, but Boyd Munce is coming on and he'll be replacing McMenamin.
Caelan Boyd Munce, Northern Ireland Youth International, joined in January. I remember at the time Stephen Robinson saying he wasn't going to play much of a part last season because he barely played any football, had a spell without a club, but always had a full pre-season. See what he can do, and he's on the pitch in place of McMenamin, who I have to say, Stephen, was impressive.
Yeah, he was excellent, really impressed with him. I think he's going to have a real good St Mirren career. I think the introduction of Adam Lafondra, a bit like Olasunga in the first half, he started to dictate the game to the St Mirren defence, and it's changed it. He's brought a hunger and an enthusiasm to the Hibs team, and St Mirren don't need to just deal with Christian Doidge now. They've all of a sudden got Adam Lafondra to deal with.
Yep, a double team up there, and Hibs have committed a lot forwards. Newell is now up there, Doyle Hayes is up there. It's gone forward from Fish towards Lafondra. Gogic gets the header, but it only goes as far as Doyle Hayes on the edge of the box, gets it back from Newell, and he's lofted it out to the left hand side of the box where Obita collects. goes back towards his own goal briefly, then puts it in. Lafondra gets the header up and over the bar onto the roof of the net. But it's just a lot sharper, John, from Hibs.
Much better. All of a sudden, the passing's crisper, the movement's better, the decision-making's better. More options for the man in possession. All of a sudden, players' body language is better. They're all wanting the ball. Nice to see, much better.
Still trailing, though, by 2-1. We're into the final 12.5 minutes of the 90 here at Easter Roads. And Hanlon wins the header. Deutsch picks up and he's moved it wide to Yuan, who's got space in front of him midway through the St Mirren half, almost trips but regains his composure, and he's gone right round outside of Tanzer. He's put up to the back post. Obita gets a header, and then Hemming collects it in front of Adam Lafondra and just hits the deck and says, right, I'll eat up a few seconds here.
Better for Johan, getting to the byline, good delivery at the back post. Hasn't done that enough today.
Hemming signals that he wants his team to move towards the right-hand side, and he puts it up in the air. Lewis Stevenson misreads, lets it bounce, but Hanlon deals with it. Right-footed clearance downfield. Gogic heads it back to the feet of Johan on halfway. Comes back inside. Good pass through the lines to Newell. Then he looks to the run of Obita in behind. Strain's fallen, but Hemming is quick off his line to get there ahead of the Hibs fullback. And then there's a stoppage here for an injury. Ryan Strain hit the deck, and he's clutching his leg. Ian Anderson's over, checking he's okay, but he just lost his footing as he tried to turn and chase the ball in behind.
Betting man, he'll get up and run away, sprint off.
Yeah, St Mirren not in any rush, shall we say. But Hemming, as you say, Stephen, I wonder if he'll look back at that Lafondra goal and think he maybe could have done better.
He almost seemed to go to ground just too early. I think he was caught by surprise with how slow he's actually hit the shot. Adam Lafondra lines it up as if he's going to hit this pile driver, and Hemmings just seemed to be on the ground dead early, and it ends up creeping into the bottom corner. But St Mirren just need to try and kill this game, take the momentum right out of Hibs.
Hanlon wins the header from the free kick down the, or the goal kick down the pitch, and then Fish is coming away out of defence, tries the ball into Lafondra, but Gogic read it and he's put it back down to David Marshall, who's had to come out his box on the right hand side. He's under pressure from Grieve, gets it away to Fish, but then it's nipped in by Kilty, who's got the challenge. Then Bacchus picks up, Stevenson commits the foul, and he's going to get, oh no, it's a yellow card for Keanu Bacchus for diving. He is, and he doesn't really complain. Stevenson did just kind of stand his ground, put his hands up in the air, and Ewan Anderson has said, you're at it, Keanu, and he's in the book.
To be honest, I thought it was a foul.
Yeah, well, Bacchus didn't protest too strongly, but it's one of those ones, given either way, I suppose you're not too fussed. But here's Marshall, free kick, long, looking for Deutsch, who's been excellent in the second half, wins the header yet again, but O'Hara wins the seconds. Then Levitt pushes in the back, and St Mirren, get the free kick, and there's going to be a change for Hibernian. Brian.
Yeah, it's the third time there's been a change for Hibernian, so this will be the final time to be able to make a change. James Jago is going to be coming on. He's going to be replacing Jake Doyle-Hayes. It's 4 substitutions. They did have an opportunity to use one more, but they've used all 3. They used 2 in the first half. They brought off Martin Boyle, and now they've put taken off Jake Doyle-Hayes. So the 3 spells that they have to make substitutions, they've now gone.
Thanks, Brian. Well, Hibs have got themselves back in this game. That goal from Adam Lafondra. They're trailing still by 2-1. Goals in the first half from O'Hara and Olasanya, who's a late addition to the St Mirren 11 after Mandron pulled out in the warm-up. And St Mirren heading for opening day victory, but we're not done yet. Final 9 minutes of the 90. Fish at the back, header up to the left back position. Stevenson has to play it first time up, but it comes back from St Mirren, then at the feet of Newell, and he goes back to Hanlon, who's racing back to fetch the ball inside his own box. Squares it to Ewan, who's in the right back position, gives it back to Fish at centre half. Little dink over to the left back position where Stevenson is, moves it on to Newell over halfway, over to Obita, left hand side. Again, he's got 2 black shirts in front of him, goes for the first time cross. Deutsch slides in, can't quite get there. Levitt on the edge of the box. Here's Ewan inside the box, cross, Deutsch! Hibs level! Christian Doidge sprints off to the east stand, slides on his knees, and he's jumped on by teammates. Hibs have come back from the dead. A ball in from Yuan, Doidge tucks it away, and it's Hibs 2, St Mirren 2.
If there's one player that deserved a goal for his second half performance, it's Christian Doidge. He's given everything for his teammates. He's been throwing poor balls in the air. He's been getting his head to it. He's made the first goal with the final pass. He's chased everything, and that's just fell nicely for him. Tucked it in the bottom corner. Superb comeback from Hibs. And they can still get another one here. There's enough time. I told you, momentum shifts. 2-0's a dangerous score.
Well, Christian Doidge, Stephen, the unlikely hero of Hibs' opening few games in the season.
Yeah, I thought he came alive again at Kilmarnock. It was a brilliant loan spell for him, and as John said, he's been Hibs' best player here. One thing Hibs did there that they've not done enough in this game, St Mirren players have to work really hard across the pitch. They moved it quickly, crisply, got it down the side of them, a brilliant ball in from Abita, and you end up getting right back into the game, and it's there for them if they really want it, Hibs.
And Easter Road is bouncing with anticipation. Still 7 minutes left for either side to find a winner, but Hibs have all the momentum now. That disjointed first half, long since forgotten.
And all of a sudden they're passing the ball. That's the difference. They're passing the ball to each other. Shorter passes, less long punts up the pitch. They're a much better team when they do that.
I know he can't run all for 95 minutes, but Grieve coming on for Olasanya, all of a sudden Paul Hanlon stepped onto things, Will Fish has stepped onto things, they're passing it to the midfielders, to the wing backs higher, and it's just a totally different proposition for the St Mirren defence.
St Mirren, all of a sudden Hibs get a goal and the tendency is, okay, now we've got to go protective mode. They've dropped probably 10 yards, which made it easier for the central defenders to step forward. But they deserved the equaliser.
Sorry, John. Yeah, they're throwing on this near side now. Over 17,500 confirmed inside Easter Road, and the vast majority of them, apart from those here from Paisley over to our right, are enjoying their afternoon now. But it's only a point apiece as it stands. Fish dinks it forward. Lafondra wins the flick on, but then Obita battles with Bacchus, wins it. Stevenson sends it back with a head. Gogic up in the air. Suddenly Hibs are winning everything. Stevenson, Doidge, Fraser in his own box, has to hook it away. It's not convincing. Luckily for him, it falls to Strain, and he's had to force it out for a throw-in on this near side. And the crowd here smell blood. They want a winner into the final 5 minutes of the 90. Hibs throw on this near side. Obita with the chance to throw, and Newell is there. I wonder if he'll take over, and he will, and he's going to launch this in. And the crowd like that one. Joe Newell disappears from our sight here in the main stand as he takes a huge run up, gets there, flings it in towards Doidge. St Mirren clear out of their box. Jago back to Stevenson, cross from deep with the left foot. Taylor wins the header out to the right hand side, and Yuan, who got that assist for the equaliser, right footed cross in towards Doidge. Header flashes up and wide, but again it's just better quality in the final third from Hibs.
Again, it's too far away for the goal for him to realistically expect him to score and hit the target. But once again, Christian Doidge, he gets his head to it. How many times has he hit the ball in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. And it just says, you said, Stephen, you know, you can't write off players after one season. You know, he's shipped out on loan. They've obviously signed Dylan Fenta from Roda, Hibs, new number 9, but Doidge is saying, I'm here, and Yuan's got the ball in his own half. He's under pressure, but he uses that pace to get away from O'Hara, over halfway out to the right-hand touchline, and then he's got a free kick, which he tries to take quickly, and then stops. And he's wants to be involved in everything now, Ellie Yuan. He's popping up at right back. He's trying to take the ball out from defence, but he leaves it for Newell to take just inside the St Mirren half, and Hibs are going to get the heavies forward.
You should just give it to Johan.
Free kick from deep up towards Fish and Hanlon. It goes over Fish and Gogic, and it's going to run out for a goal kick unless it can be kept in by Lafondra. He has kept it in. Obita cross with the left foot into the box. Doidge wins a header. It falls for Levitt. Hemming saves, and then Strain has to clear it out on this near side. Hibs with their tails up.
Lafondra, unbelievable attitude, chasing lost causes to keep that in. That's the difference. That's what wins you games.
Here's Obita, left-hand side. Cross comes in. Headed by Tanzer unconvincingly, but it falls for Strain on the other side of the box. He hooks it, doesn't get it so far, only as far as Levitt, who's right on the near touchline in front of the main stand here at Easter Road. Manages to turn, gets the pass into Newell, out to Obita on the left-hand side. Newell back, he's going to line up across from deep with the left foot. Goes again towards Doyes. Taylor wins the header. Yuan tries to get onto it in the edge of the box. It's cleared by O'Hara. And now St Mirren can't get out their own half. Yuan, he's going to run past Tanzer to collect this pass, and then Tanzer just manages to get back and put it out for a throw-in. But the tempo of the game from Hibs has gone up tenfold.
I mean, it's an incredible difference from the end of the first half to what we're seeing at this moment in time. It's just confidence, belief.
88 minutes almost played here at Easter Road. Hibs 2, St Mirren 2. There's going to be 5 added on. Newell flings in the ball near post. Tanzer heads it away. Here's Stevenson, who's the only Hibs player back in the centre circle, sends it straight back to Yuan, who gets a lovely flick on out to the right hand side. It's going to cross, comes into the back post, but it's straight to Zach Hemming, who collects, and he's going to roll it out. And St Mirren are on the march. It's stretched, it's exciting, it's fast paced. Bacchus up to halfway, moves it out to Kiltie on the right hand touchline for St Mirren. He's going to try and take on Levitt. He gets the cross in to Grieve. He's headed into the corner. Alex Grieve sprints off, cups his ear to the away fans, who jump for joy because out of nothing St Mirren have regained the lead. Alex Grieve with a superb header. Hibs 2, St Mirren 3, right at the death.
Wow, a minute ago you're thinking St Mirren can just get to full time 2 each, lick their wounds and move on. They've gone and snatched it right at the end. They've not laid a glove on Hibs for about 10-15 minutes, and they break away, catch Hibs. Hibs didn't get back in quick enough. A brilliant ball from Greg Kiltie, and what a header from Alex Grieve.
The 88th minute, incredible. And John, Hibs just left wide open.
What a blow. It actually comes from Joe Newell. Wonderful left foot, he's put in the goalkeeper's hands. Normally his delivery is so good, straight for the goalkeeper. They counter attack, and it's a wonderful cross out in the box on the right hand side. And I don't know who played it in. And was there 2 central defenders in the box, 1 centre forward. I'll have to see it again in the replay, but a disappointing goal from Hibs to concede.
Well, what a game we've had here at Easter Road. It's gone one way, then the other, and St Mirren are back in front. Incredible. Hibs not done though. Obita battling right up on the left-hand side. He's going to get a cross in here with the left foot. Hemming comes, he gets a punch on it, only as far as Yuan edge of the box. Levitt takes a shot, it's deflected. Has that come off a hand? Hibs think it has. Cleared downfield by Strain. Well, and the fourth official puts up the board for 5 minutes of added time. Well, I didn't quite see whether that came off of a hand or not, but Hibs were convinced.
It very much looked like Alex Gogic's knee, and he actually celebrated it. I don't think you celebrate it if you know that you've handled it.
It'll obviously be checked in the background. Kevin Clancy is the VAR for today, and it's Levitt's shot, took a nick and just was going quickly, and we're going to have a late change for St Mirren. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, Ryan Strain is going to be coming off. The player who's just really quickly put his jersey on there is number 2, James Bolton. Whether this is running down the clock, I thought they may have added actually on an additional minute for the goal being scored, but Gavin Duncan says no, still 5 minutes to go, but that's another change. Bolton on, replacing Strain.
Hibs having clawed their way back into this game, hit with that sucker punch 2 minutes from the end of the 90. Alex Greaves, tremendous header, and now Stevenson takes a throw in. Bolton on the summer signings for St Mirren, and Hanlon goes long to Lafondra. Newell heads it up towards the edge of the box. St Mirren get the free kick, and that will be joyous, and you can see Stephen Robinson gesturing, just saying to Greg Kiltie, get yourself up here. And well, St Mirren, as you say, Stephen, they would have been probably content with a draw the way things were shaping up, the way Hibs had all the momentum.
Just when Alex Grieve initially at 2-0 is over that ball with the breakaway, you'd have been mad to think that this game would end up a 2 each, and then at 2 each, you're thinking there's only one winner here, and at best for St Mirren it's a draw. To go and snatch it at the end, amazing, and what a surprise for the travelling fans in the end.
Yeah, they were all sitting down very quiet and glum-faced, and then all of a sudden they were jumping for joy. St Mirren throw here on the near side. We've played 2 of the added 5 minutes. Hibs with 3 minutes to find yet another equaliser. Fraser is up. He's going to take this throw in midway through the Hibs half. He finds the chest of Kiltie, who controls really nicely, and he's going to take this into the corner flag, and he's got 2 Hibs players there, and one of them, Lewis Stevenson, wins the ball, and it's cleared downfield, but only as far as St Mirren, and then falls for Grieve on the edge of the box. He's going to try and win the free kick. Hanlon comes through and wins the ball cleanly, and then it's sent down the field, but there's no Hibs players. Lafondra and Doidge will chase it. Gogic gets there, passes it off, and here come Hibs. Long ball forward, looking for Doidge. Right at the back though for Bolton, the new signing. Gets a first touch, hooks it down the field, the centre half. Right centre half can play it right back as well. And David Marshall has the ball at his feet. Hibs with 2 minutes to try and find something. They found 2 goals in this second half to bring themselves level. But St Mirren, and then Grieve has just been tripped there by Fish as he ran into the Hibs half to try and retrieve the ball on the far side, and it's going to be a free kick, and that is exactly what St Mirren are looking for. Up the pitch, free kick, eat up a few more seconds. They lead 3-2.
It's a really stupid foul for Fish to give away. St Mirren will be absolutely delighted.
Lazy defending from Fish, probably lucky to get away with a yellow card, but absolutely priceless running from Alex Grieve. From potentially seeing out the game last couple of minutes and now spending the time in Hibs half.
And free kick, and they're not going to put this in the box. They only play her up. There's no one in the box. Kiltie's right on the edge. They're just going to play this short. They go back to Taylor. The centre half, it just goes back to the goalkeeper. We're into the final minute of the 5 added here at Easter Road. St Mirren leading by 3-2, heading for opening day victory. Stephen Robinson heading for a first opening day victory in the Scottish top flight. He's heading for a first victory at Easter Road at the 9th attempt. But is there one last twist in the tail? St Mirren with a throw in midway through the Hibs half. Throws it to the feet of Kiltie, who hits the deck. Jago's in, trying to take it off Kiltie, who's back in his feet. Ewan's in there trying to win the ball, and St Mirren win the free kick right on the far side. And Hibs have 30 seconds, and time seems up for Hibernian.
Brilliant work there from Greg Kiltie. He's not always a starter for St Mirren, but he's so reliable. Can play a few different roles for St Mirren, and I think he's been excellent again today.
Word is reaching us that we're going to have an extra minute for the goal, because goal celebrations, that's all added to the added time. That's the guidance from IFAB and UEFA implemented this season in the Premiership. So Hibs will have a further minute, but it's another throw in to St Mirren on the far side. They're almost in line with the Hibs box. They're just going to throw this to Grieve, who moves towards the corner flag. He's tussling with Fish, and he actually gets it away to Tanzer on the left hand side, who takes it by Ewan. He's not even going to try and get this in the box. He's just going to take it onto the quadrant of the corner flag, and there's a tussle with Newell, I think, on the far side, and it goes behind for a throw in right in the corner. Hibs with 40 seconds or so to try and find another equaliser. They trail by 3-2 here on Sports Sound. What a game we've been treated to here at Easter Road. But St Mirren win the ball now illegally. Free kick for Hibs midway through their own half, and they're going to get everyone up here. Marshall's going to take this free kick, and he's going to just shell it long, and this is the last chance for Hibernian to snatch a point on the opening day of the season. What a game it's been. Is there one last twist in the tail? Marshall goes long with the right foot, but it's straight down the throat of Richard Taylor. Unconvincing clearance straight to Ewan. He's played it out to Lafondra, right hand side of the box for Hibernian. He's going to get the cross in. It's lofted up towards Doidge and Hanlon. Header, pinball in the box. Eventually St Mirren get it away, and there is the full-time whistle. The St Mirren players raise their hands above their heads. Greg Kiltie punches the sky. The fans at Easter Road, the home fans, get up. They head for the exits. What a game we've been treated to. St Mirren had all of the first half. Mark O'Hara's penalty after Kiltie was tripped. That was the opening goal as O'Hara rolled it in. Then Toyosi Olasanya, a late addition to the St Mirren lineup after Mandron pulled out in the warm-up. He got in behind and calmly stroked beyond Marshall to give St Mirren a 2-0 half-time advantage. Hibs were all over the place at that point. They didn't even start the second half particularly well, but they slowly came into it. Adam Lafondra was pivotal, and he got them one back on the counter. Doidge squared, he stuck it past Hemming, it low into the corner, and then Hibs had all the momentum at that point and finally got the equaliser. Doidge turned in Yuan's cross first time, and it seemed there was only going to be one winner. If there was going to be a winner at that stage, it was going to be Hibernian. But St Mirren just one counter attack up the right hand side, cross in, fantastic cross on the right hand side, straight onto the head of Alex Grieve with 2 minutes of the 90 remaining. The substitute planted it beyond Marshall, and St Mirren held on for a fantastic victory. A first win for Stephen Robinson as manager at Easter Road, a first on the opening day of the season. What a game we've been treated to. It's finished here at Easter Road. Hibernian 2, St Mirren 3.
On digital